It's going to be a big one, dude. Guys, welcome to episode 99. That's right, 99, episode 99 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, we've got this is a huge show. I'm gonna talk fast because we have Arkansas legislators tried to vote on a bill to limit motorsport facilities to 75 decibels in the state of Arkansas. I think these guys are idiots. We're going to announce the location of the 2025 Circuit Racer Party. I'm excited about that. Caroline from Youth Services of Tulsa is going to be on to talk about what they do for the community and why they are our charity of choice for this year. And the man himself, no floppy tire, Devin Vandrhoof is on tonight to talk about Sick Week, Lights Out 16, and I really want to talk about some radial tire stuff in comparison to slick tire stuff and why Florida is the place to go when they are doing that in the winter. So, Mr. Eric White, will you hit that intro video and let's do this?
Yep, let's do it. We're going to pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Well, again, welcome to episode 99 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. My name is Mike Narks. I am the host of the Drag Driver Pete Show and news. This man, like your source. This is your source for news and entertainment from the Drag and Drive community, stats and stories from that place as well. I'm telling you, I've lived it today, man. It's been a crazy day getting to talk to all of our race car friends about this Arkansas State deal. They're wild. Mr. Eric White, back in the studio. My co-host, my right-hand man, introduce yourself. Tell them what's been up, man.
I am Eric White, co-host of both the news and the show. Right-hand man, like Mike mentioned, anything drag, drive, repeat related or the circuit related. I've got my hands in all of that, plus other events. So, help out with artwork for a few other events. And appreciate everybody. I've been reaching out for the circuit. Getting pictures for artwork. So I know I've messaged a ton of people and I appreciate everybody sending me photos so I can make those artworks. And of course, want to say a big thanks to Stone Cipher for being on last week while I was gone and Fro for running the comments. I had some family things to take care of. So appreciate everybody that kind of helped fill in my absence and keep this show rolling.
Yeah, man, certainly appreciate them. Well, guys, listen, we can't do it. Those guys are those are our race car friends, man. We can't do that. Right. We can't do this without them. And so again, big shout out to those guys for helping last week and everybody that's already made comments tonight, everybody that will make comments tonight. We've got, again, a huge show and they keep getting bigger. I cannot believe, dude, next week we're going to celebrate 100 episodes of this. And I was looking at it beforehand and I sent this to you. 400 live streams, 423 live streams is what we've done on the Drag Driver Pete channel. Absolutely insane. From events, this show, the news, man, we've been live so many times, more than 1,200 videos posted up on the channel. So can't do that without you guys. They can't do that without our race car friends. So thank you so much to all you guys for being here and being a part of it. And then, of course, our sponsors making all the travel and equipment and making this whole life I live possible. We appreciate all of their support. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Deechworks, our newest sponsor, Howard's Cams, who was on Saturday morning, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Man, we can't do it without all of those guys. And let's get right into this because I see John Paul Franks is already in the backstage back there. So this is going to be a fun one. Summit Racing Speed legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop. With 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions, they fuel your passion, save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And you can listen to them on the On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like this. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. And when you're over there shopping on summitracing.com for your parts, go ahead and grab you one of those drag, drive, repeat Summit hoodies or t-shirts or the big brim hat, because you're going to have that kind of stuff. You're going to need the big brim hat as we get into the summer months here. The first weekend of drag racing happens at Tulsa Raceway Park this weekend.
Oh boy,
it's gonna be crazy. How long till you guys open your tracks up there?
Probably another, I'd say a month or two still.
Wow, man. I'm sad for you, buddy. I'm sad for you. We're doing chassis certs and a test and tune this Saturday, so it's gonna be kind of awesome.
You see, I got my new hoodie on. Should I tell them about how I almost had to burn it today?
Yes, definitely tell them.
So got my race car friend's hoodie. Just got it. Worn it once so far, and getting ready to put it on to start the show. Literally 5 minutes before the show, and I sent Mike a picture. And while it was in my closet, some big ass spider decided it was going to make a home on my hoodie and made a whole ass web on the front of the hoodie and was just chilling on there. So thought I was going to have to burn it for a second. Luckily, I was able to evacuate him, and hoodie's still safe.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the circuit because, like I said earlier, we're going to announce the location of the racer party. For folks that don't know, the circuit is, it's my baby. It really is. I love this. It's an opportunity. It's a weekend event, weekend drag and drive for people to kind of get together, and we take a completely different approach. I love food and fun, and so we do a lot of that, right? So last year we did go-karts. This year we're bowling. I got kind of inspired by Sick Week's party, where they kind of had the block party. So that was a ton of fun. So I wanted somewhere we could all go and kind of end up in the same spot. So Broken Arrow Lanes is they're gonna host us, and I don't know if I've talked to anybody that's as excited than they are about us coming. I told her 300. She said, bring it on. We can't wait to see that many people in here. They do a ton of tournaments and stuff, so they're used to big crowds and all that. And the parking lot's big. So that's another big win there. And, we were talking about games because obviously go-karts last year was a big hit, and that made it easy, race, ram into each other, all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking maybe what about like a you versus you in bowling? Because I know how to bowl and get points. I just bowl, and those are the points I get. So I want to see who can have the smallest spread in points. So it's gonna be awesome to see, all of that, and then all the arcade games. They just doubled their arcade size. It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna have a blast.
Are we going to have the whole place to ourselves?
Oh yeah. That's how we're gonna do that racer party as long as we can, because it's so much easier than having to fight some regular public. So it's ours Saturday night from 6 to 10, and then literally we'll go right over from there back to Tulsa Raceway Park for the Midnight Drags. So it's gonna be pretty crazy, man.
Awesome. I do love bowling, so that should be a good time.
Yeah, perfect. All right. I don't know anything about, I can't score that, but I'm definitely going to try. So who gets the closest 2 games in a row? All right, man. Lead us into Driven.
All right. Driven Racing Oil is the performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application, whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing limits in top field drag boats and demo derbies. Winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cling and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil, then enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance. And you guys know drivenracingoil.com is where you can go to pick up your oil or any merchandise, and Driven Racing Oil on Facebook and Instagram.
That is for sure. And the first event up on the docket today is Heads Up Hustle. And so John Paul Franks called me earlier. And Mr. John Paul Franks, we're going to let you tell this story because this is so exciting, dude.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. I am so excited to announce that Melling Performance is coming on to be our title sponsor for Heads Up Hustle. So it's Heads Up Hustle presented by Melling Performance. They are your go-to for oil pumps, valve train, timing components, water pumps, and more. They're located in Jackson, Michigan. We were able to stop by there and leave some rubber on the road in front of their factory last year, and we're excited to go back there as well this year.
Man, that's so exciting for you guys. I know you spend a ton of time working on this event, and that's a big win for you, man. I'm pumped because that's the only event that I announce. So it may not be the only one I do for 2025, but it's the only Dragon Drive I got on the docket right now. I'm pumped, man. This is great. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited to have them, and they were super helpful last year, and I think they even helped out some racers with parts and stuff. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. Yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah.
Our registration went really well last weekend. We're not sold out, but to the Spider Gears. I think he broke his rear end doing a burnout in front of Melling last year. So
yep,
got a little too aggressive, but Dan does some pretty sweet burnouts with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was the sudden traction that broke that stuff for Dan.
I think so.
Yeah,
let off and
yep, got him. Well, what are the dates? What are the tracks, man?
Yeah, so Heads Up Hustle starts at Milan Dragway on July 25th. It's a Friday, starts Friday morning. Then Friday evening, we drive through Jackson, Michigan, where Melling is, and we get to the Edmore Inn in Edmore, Michigan. Have a nice big hangout in the parking lot there before we head down to Mid-Michigan Motorplex, which is the background you can see behind me here. Have a great day there Saturday. Then we head to Mountain Machine for our racer party. So Mountain Machine is going to be hosting a racer party this year. Chris Ritter, he's the owner of Mountain Machine, and we're going to have a car show there, food trucks. Their shop's available for any work that needs done, and not only is the car show for Heads Up Hustle, but there's going to be a car show with other people that are not Heads Up Hustle.
Oh, sweet.
Similar to what you guys did on the circuit 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to be a legit car show there. So that'll be really fun. And then Sunday morning, we'll be back at Milan for eliminations.
And then what at Milan? Like, it's like eliminations in Heads Up Hustle, and then what happens?
And then Carl Balzer's event, No Half Sends, happens, which there's going to be mud drags, a mud bog, there's drifting, Australian-style burnouts, and then he has a streetcar shootout at the end of the day.
Yep.
So, Milan on July 27th is the place to be. So mark your calendars, come out, watch Heads Up Hustle, watch Race, Rebuild, Repeat is going to be there doing they're going to be doing mud bogs, they're going to be doing the dirt drags, and then the Skids for Kids guys are doing all the Australian style burnout stuff. It's gonna be really fun.
It is epic. Man, last year was insane. This year is going to be even wilder. All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for spending the time with us, man. Thanks for the call today. And again, I'm proud and congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.
Everybody, we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Man, I'm telling you, that's awesome and a big win for him. That's really, really cool. So congratulations to them and the racers. I mean, that provides more that they're able to do, and obviously we'll get a lot more attention that way on Heads Up Hustle. Street Week Sweden just announced their dates, July 6th through 12th, and there's other events that are big. 2025 is crazy. 2025 is crazy. So we're going to talk about Street Week Sweden a little more next week when there's more details that are out there. And then this thing, man, Sick at the Rock just continues to gain steam. They're now incorporating a drag and drive element for the event, 225 car limit, and they're paying out to 32 different categories. This is what's kind of neat. So it's a single class But within it, there are, I mean, well, there's 32 different categories: quickest small block, quickest big block, quickest NA small block, quickest NA big block, quickest turbo, quickest nitrous. All this, like, there's a whole big list. I mean, you find them on the thing there. It's listed on this, but you can also find them on the list that Derek put up in Sick the Mag. I think that's pretty neat. It kind of follows their same pattern as their one-off events, and it's a weekend deal. So it's either a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, whatever that weekend is. I think it's a Friday, Saturday on that one. And so Derek said they hadn't worked out the mileage that they'll drive, but all of it's going to be based like a regular drag and drive for this class, you know. So you're going to have, you know, averages are going to matter. Whatever pass you make on Friday or Saturday is going to, you know, you're going to need to get close on Saturday or Sunday as well. So kind of cool, man. And then registration opens up this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and 225 cars, that's a bunch.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, oh man, I didn't put it in here. Nope, it's next. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Home quarter drag and drive. I think this is the 5th event in Canada this year or something like that.
Yeah.
Growing across the world, but they have announced they are a 3-day event. So they're going to do June 13th through 15th, and they'll have basically 2 drives, which they're staying at one track. So I'm excited to see how this format works, because there's not been many that have done 3 days with the same track. You know, a lot of times if people are going to do a 3-day race, it's, you know, track 1, you drive to track 2 for day 2, and then back to track 1 for day 3. So I'm excited to see how this works. I think it'll work great. I mean, you know, in my opinion, I think it's going to work, because by the end of that, you're going to have a ton of data, and so you're going to be really fast on Sunday. Is my thought.
Yeah, that's a good thought on that. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right. And then why don't you tell us about these, man? I've been talking a whole bunch. Sorry.
Yeah, so the Hot Lap Challenge, they did make an announcement that it is postponed until 2026. So definitely sad to hear that. We were looking forward to seeing what that event would bring. But hey, you got a whole nother year to prepare for that one. So anybody in that Louisiana area come February, I would assume probably the same time frame, but
I would think so.
2026, be on the lookout for that. You gotta, in order for these to keep popping up, we got to attend these events. So people need to sign up, and if you sign up, make sure you attend, because I think that one's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, for anytime you can have Chad Reynolds, the dude that's done it since the beginning. I mean, that's going to be a great event.
Right. Yep. And then the Central Georgia Battle of the Streets, that is March 8th, the one-day deal at Silver Dollar Motorsports Park. And Mike Mayo had posted that the gates open at 10. Be ready to tech. You will be sent on your drive after tech. Be ready to race by 1 p.m. Stay by your car. Be ready to race. I will not wait on you. Be in your car, strapped in.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he says must be at least 8 car minimum per class, except for Renegade and Hot Rod 2.0. I thought that was kind of interesting. He said that if we don't have the car count, he'll either call the class or sorry, if they don't have the car count, he'll call the class and put you in another class. So I think that really makes sense, as long as it's, you know, at least close. Somebody that signed up maybe in you know, Hot Rod 1.0. I don't know if that's a class or not, but you know, if they get in there and there's not, you know, there's not enough people in that class, maybe they were looking for an easy win. I think he wants to take that kind of stuff out of there. He said he would maybe make it like a best of 3 time run, which I think would be cool for them to get kind of into that zone of drag and drive stuff. And then he said there's like almost 700 people in the Central Georgia Battle of the Streets group. He said there's no reason why at least half can't show up. Now, half would be a lot, but you know, 100 I think would be a huge event, to be honest with you.
For like a one-day deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then he said, but he did say if we don't have the car count, this will be the last of these races. So it costs a lot to do that. I mean, he says that too. You know, it's he said, so at least you can do is show up. But I'm going to tell you right now, to continue to grow this community and these motorsports events like this, we've got to show up to these things, just like you're saying. We've got to get out there and do that. Saturday is going to be all about events, man. We're at 35 or 36 events, and 9 of those happen in June. Like I think there's like 3 days that there aren't drag and drive that there isn't drag and drive racing going on across the world in June. I haven't done the math like I did last year, but June is crazy. July is crazy. Obviously, to have this many events at this point in the year is a bunch. We start seeing a lot of like September and October events pop up, in the next few weeks. So I would imagine we're going to cross 40 events this year, and 35 on the list so far. You can find the full list, dragdriverepeat.com/event list -2025. It's nuts to think that we have that many events that are happening out there. So
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll have plenty to talk about for the next few months.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. All right. Well, let's get to the J-Wire Solutions part. This is going to be kind of controversial, to be honest with you. J-Wire Solutions, expert car and marine wiring solutions you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, or your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products that make your driving experience better. Like the blinker module that is a must for all drag and drive racers. You got to have this. This allows your blinker to work just like your stock daily driver does. So usually if you have an aftermarket harness and you hit the brakes, your blinker no longer blinks, right? Which is kind of a problem if you're pulling in somewhere. So this module kind of helps eliminate that. And then there's a ton of new stuff that Jay and the team at J-Wire are coming out with that we can't announce yet, but hopefully he said that maybe next week or the week after we can have him on and trans brake stuff for turbo 400s, kind of a better way to, all kinds of neat stuff. I'm not going to talk about all of it yet, but it's really, really neat. Well, I was hoping Matt Reesner would be in here by now to talk about this, but y'all, these two idiots right here on the screen are Arkansas state legislators, officials. I don't know what you call them. One's a senator and one's a state representative. I live in Arkansas. And so when this started kind of making its rounds this morning early, immediately people went to work trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So apparently this bill, HB 1564, these guys are crazy. This new bill is basically, it is on top of what was already in place. Okay. So there was already stuff like this in place where you had to apply for permits to have a racetrack or any kind of motorsports facility. Okay. Well, now it goes into all of these other steps where at the property line, they didn't want to have any sound greater than 75 decibels, which is everybody's been using the vacuum cleaner. So it would be like vacuuming outside and at your property line. If people could hear that, you'd be fined. You would be in violation of your permit. Okay, so that's a problem. Obviously for any kind of drag racing, because we know you can hear that a lot farther than your property line. And then the quiet hours. I love this. This tells you how old people are. Quiet hours from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., which makes no sense, especially for any kind of drag racing deal or anybody that's going to be out doing things side by side racing, motocross, things like that at night. And then annually, you would go back in to renew your permits, which is kind of a problem. Now, this was already sort of in place to where the public could vote on it, which we all know that's what happens. Anytime something new is going to be built, the public can go in and say, hey, you can't permit it for that type of development. Well, what's really crazy is that one of these guys, this Senator Ronald Caldwell, is a real estate developer. Huh, interesting. Wanting to get rid of motorsports areas. Well, the story we heard is that one of these guys or one of their good friends for a long time has fought with a local or with their local off-road park. It's the Ridge Off-Road Park or something like that. And the side-by-sides driving at night. That was kind of what caused all of this to kind of get in the works. Well, they recently sold it. So now's a perfect opportunity because the facility is closed while they go through the transition of ownership to put in some kind of new situation like this, right? So everybody in the state of Arkansas like jumped on board with this, getting in, trying to figure out how they could help. Well, Matt sent me something earlier. He obviously is part of the SEMA program, like young developers or young builders or something like that from a few years ago. And so he is highly involved in the SEMA community. And so he jumped on, talked to them. They sent out a letter to the state. And then from there, they had like 1,300 people submit from the state of Arkansas, saying that this doesn't work. Please don't do this, whatever.
Wow.
So 1,300 people, it had 300 in an hour of putting the link up. Absolutely
Dang.
crazy. So big shout out to the folks in Arkansas trying to put this out. Tom Tashner, Lucky 8 Performance, sent me a link earlier. Alex Taylor was talking about it on her channel on Instagram. The SEMA Action Network had a video out already. And one thing that Matt did say is that he's very surprised how fast that SEMA got involved in this. And it's probably a good thing they did, because there was literally, they read this for the first time 2/24, 2 days ago, and they were going to vote on it this morning at 10 a.m. So nobody knew about it. Everybody sees it this morning at about 8 o'clock is when I kind of sat down at the table to start working. I see it by 10 o'clock. I've got the live stream pulled up for the reading of all this stuff. And the first thing that those guys said when the live stream came on for the Arkansas State, they said, we're not going to talk about Bill 1564 and 1567 or 16, whatever it is. We're not going to talk about those at this time. So that tells you right there in that 2 hour window, everybody, because I emailed every person on the committee, like, what, please reconsider. Don't approve this or whatever. But then also asking, like, what does this mean? Like, if you guys read it, are you literally voting on this will be a bill today? And never got any response back from any of those guys. So hopefully all of the backlash that the bill received, surely everybody went, well, hang on, wait, let's not do this. That's not smart.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Oh man, I hope. I'm telling you, this is pretty scary, because you know how it works. Like, somebody gets something like this approved, and then they can lean on you, and then suddenly another state says, oh, well, hey, I think we can do that too.
Right.
I think we word it the same way they word it. And it gets to you, and now suddenly we're all fighting for it.
Yeah, and it's crazy that would affect the whole state, right? Like,
yeah, the whole state of Arkansas.
I couldn't imagine. Like, I've seen things like this with different counties before, but man, to go at a whole state level is just insane.
Well, and it was basically going to be run under a state of emergency. Like, are you serious? Like, it's a state of emergency. We're not even racing right now. And so maybe that's why they were trying to get it passed now, was so they could have those, permissions or that power as we go into the racing season. And, it just comes down to, like, when a developer builds a big community close to, like, Bradenton Motorsports Park, and then everybody in there complains because the noise is loud. Well, yeah, you bought a house that's right down the street from a drag strip. Did you not think it was going to be loud? But those folks go and look at those houses, let's say on a Wednesday night at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, there's no noise.
Right.
It's really not that bad. I thought being closer to the drag strip would be bad. And then on Saturday morning at 2 a.m., they're like, I hate this. And then they start complaining. And that's where it really kind of kicks off and goes from there. So,
I'm glad you saw it, and I mean, I couldn't imagine if this would have snuck through and nobody noticed it. That'd have been horrible.
Yeah, big shout out to Kylie Reynolds. He's the one that shared Tim Crawley's post about it this morning, and man, I can't imagine how many times Tim's post has been shared based on what I saw my post do. It's just crazy.
Yeah, like Johnny Allen said.
Yeah, that was what I immediately thought of when they started talking about the, like the planned community around Bradenton Motorsports Park was like going to be drag strip friendly and, circle track friendly. I'm like, man, are they going to have like a back entrance to where people in the neighborhood can get in without, they'll have like deals. So I thought, man, could I buy one of those houses and just Airbnb that thing?
Oh yeah. Could you imagine?
Oh, sign me up, man. I'd live down there in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's almost like they need to have waivers when you buy those houses. Like sign this waiver that you're not gonna try to shut down the racetrack because you moved here.
Well, right, and they did. They do. That was one of the biggest things for Cletus them to get approved was the neighborhoods that are being built around them. They are, supposedly they're having to sign waivers that they understand that they're by a drag strip and noise will be loud and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing: like the first person may sign that, but is the realtor going to make the second person sign it? And how long is that really viable? Like, can you do that for 5 years, or is it 10 years, or is it 25? I doubt it's 25.
Right.
So we'll see. I know Victor and Cletus both have talked about they're already looking at land, and they'll build another facility when they get to that point of being pushed out. But yeah, we have at least 5 or 8 years before that happens
Yeah.
for sure with Bradenton. Now Arkansas tracks, I don't know, man. If this is the case, we're going to be in trouble because this isn't going to go away.
Right. And it's not just drag racing. Like, that's
Mm-mm.
the thing. Like, I don't know how many drag
Yep.
strips are in Arkansas, but start looking at all of motorsports, circle
Yeah.
tracks, and anything like that.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
motocross, side by side, like even just motorsports facilities. So if you have an area that runs trails and you pay to get into that, they can shut that down. So it could almost be like somewhere fun that you just go to hang out and have fun. Well, once a year they hold a big race. Now you can't go there at all. So what does
yeah.
that do to the owner of that? Now they've bought and built all this place and all that kind. I mean, it could be really interesting. So we're going to follow this very, very closely because man, who doesn't love a good fight?
I feel like there's a couple of those going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, let's move on to the Molly Motorsports segment here, sir.
Yep. Racers and high performance enthusiasts ready to start your next engine build? If so, there is no better time than now to check out Molly Motorsports all in one Power Pack piston kits. With over 1,200 application, these kits come complete with pistons, rings, wrist pins, and clips designed to work together. Molly Motorsports Power Pack piston kits take out all the guesswork. No more trying to determine if a piston will need this ring to work with a certain cylinder size. Molly Motorsports did all the engineering so you can get to the part that matters, which is building a power plant that leads to victory lane. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And of course, for our podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle.
Yep. Well, in this segment here, you guys know the circuit has always been like we've hosted events 12 years. Big shout out to Jonathan Stone Cypher, Uncle Stoney for being a part of this whole thing. And we've raised more than like $70,000 over the years. We've raised truckloads of toys and supplies and things like that. So we use the circuit as a way to raise awareness and donations. And basically, I'm going to say this before Caroline comes on. We want kids to know that the car community gives a shit about them. So I feel like that's always the best way to say what we do and why we do it is because the car community is really one of the coolest. There's a lot of really, really good people in this. And a lot of times this Youth Services of Tulsa is kind of, I really feel like what I've been looking for a while. So this is going to be fun. So let's bring on Miss Carolyn.
Hello.
Carolyn, hi, how are you? She is, well, tell us who you are, what you do, and all that stuff at Youth Services.
Sure, of course. My name is Carolyn. I'm the Associate Director of, what is my title? It's very long. The Associate Director of Community Relations and Communications at Youth Services of Tulsa. First of all, I just want to say that we're so honored. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I've just been sitting in on this conversation for the past 10, 15 minutes, and this is a world that I personally know very little about. I grew up, my dad was a big Formula One fan all the way back from the 70s. So I grew up watching racing of that kind and at that, in those international crazy tracks and spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool to know that, something exists here too. It's just never been on my radar. And I can also say that I am so excited for some of the YST kiddos to get involved, to come and see what, we serve young people ages 12 to 24 with a variety of different programs and services. And I can already tell you that the kiddos in our emergency adolescent shelter, ages 12 to 17, this will be amazing for them. This will be unlike anything they will have ever seen. And I love bringing them to those kinds of experiences. So yeah, thank you so much. $70,000 is incredible.
It took a long time. What's really cool is we donate a portion of all the shirt sales. We donate $25 of every entry, all that kind of stuff, right directly to you guys. And because of AT Industries' $2,000 donation, we're already over $7,000. So
That's amazing.
we're going to hit our goal. We just got to,
Amazing.
it'll be the most we've ever raised ever. So it's kind of exciting to go into that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Well, and one of the big things that I think I like about your situation there is like older kids typically get left out of the help that's out there, right? And granted, a 15-year-old boy is in a way different scenario of earning income and getting out there doing their own thing than a 7-year-old, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
those
then
guys get lost.
Absolutely. The teenagers get lost. And then the other segment of that population that we serve that I think really, really, really gets lost is that kind of 18 to 24.
Mhm.
We do a lot of our kind of street outreach services, homelessness services is for that community of young people. And really, these are the young people that, they're not like cute anymore. And you can see some of them in the pictures right here. They're not like the cute kids anymore, but they are the angsty teens or the 18, 19-year-old who's out on the streets for the first time. And
Mhm.
I remember myself at that age, I would have been horrible. And
Oh, yeah.
what do you do? And a lot of them, have been kicked out of home, or maybe they've been experiencing chronic homelessness. Maybe they've just, a lot of our kiddos tend to be young people who were within the foster system. So
Mhm.
aged out of foster care. And then what do? Our executive director always says, college for me, university, college, that was our transitional living program. For the young people who don't have access to that, or that's not an option, what do they do?
Yeah.
Where do they live? Where do they learn how to have a job? Where do they, all of these things that we were kind of taught when we were young, and that often were modeled to us by our parents. They just weren't for a lot of this population. So really, I mean, you're totally right. It's those young people that kind of get left behind by society, and kind of, it's easy to kind of look away.
Well, and I think Ben Franklin was one that says you can't race a house, but you can race a car, and you can live in a car.
Yeah, absolutely. You can. And a lot of our young people do.
Yeah. So I think that's where this is going to be fun, right? Obviously, the people within the car community, especially that are going to be doing this, we are a fun-loving bunch. We're going to have a blast. But
Awesome.
when you start bringing in young adults to car stuff that they've never really been involved with, the circuit, the drag and drive community is so open that those young people will, I hate to say kids, those young people will walk over and they'll be talking to those and they'll say, what do you do? Or, oh yeah, I work here, I work there, whatever. And everybody here has regular jobs, right? Everybody that does this has regular jobs. And I'm hoping that will kind of like motivate them. Hey, this guy's got a cool car and he has just a regular job.
Right. Absolutely. And I think the other side of it for me too is, even just the mechanical side of things, knowing that that's an option, that there are people out there who have, are working on their own cars, building their own cars. That's a skill set that somebody can acquire. When I say some of these young people are, of course they're highly intelligent. We've got fantastic artists, fantastic, amazing, intelligent individuals that just haven't had the opportunity to express it. And maybe it's not, maybe they don't ace the English paper, but they might be able to build a car engine, no problem. And so having that introduction to that world, we do a lot of programming with employment and education, and really just the nuts and bolts of this program are just trying to introduce young people to, what's out there that isn't just like the traditional job, the traditional career, and being able to see that, not only racing cars, but working on them, building them, being in this community, being in a community that is incredibly supportive and giving and generous is, I'm very, very excited and interested to see kind of the spark that lights in some of our young people. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's probably exactly what's going to happen. Like if you ever needed motivation to make money or figure out something on your own, just get into cars because parts are expensive. And if you can't pay for people to build your stuff, you've got to figure it out on your own. And, a lot of times it's going to be awesome 10 years from now when we're all still doing this. And those guys come up, and the guys and girls come up, and they're like, we came to the circuit that
Yes.
weekend that you guys were here, and it motivated us to do that. And then also we haven't talked about this, but there's a high school in Pittsburgh, Kansas, that's bringing their race car. So who knows where this could go? Like you could end up with the motivation for a local high school teacher to now they're building a car to compete against this other high school. And it suddenly gets kids involved. Hey, I've got to do better in English so I can go to auto shop and build this car.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just creating that well-rounded experience of, you're totally right. Motivation and just realizing what is accessible. I told you I grew up watching Formula One, like talk about an inaccessible sport, but just to realize that actually you can bridge that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you can bridge that gap and work on your own car and do all these really cool, fun, high octane adrenaline rush activities. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, the great thing about drag racing compared to Formula One is burnouts. I mean, like they don't do burnouts in Formula One. Trying not to, anyways. Well, walk us through kind of what you guys do, and then a little bit of history, kind of like from here back.
Sure. So where we are right now, I will preface this all by saying that Youth Services of Tulsa, I mentioned we serve young people in all of Tulsa County, ages 12 to 24. Now, anybody who kind of knows Tulsa County knows we're sort of like long and skinny, but what that means for us is like, of course, we have downtown Tulsa. We've got our kind of very, very populated area, but then we've got a lot of rural pockets as well. We've got, Owasso, Broken Arrow, Bixby, and within that, there's really a wide range of experiences and a wide range of needs. So where YST stands right now is we've got about 20 different programs under 4 main umbrellas. I know I mentioned runaway and homelessness services. That's everything from we facilitate the Safe Place program. So making sure youth in crisis, whether that's being abused and neglected at home or not liking what their friends are doing on a Friday night, or, maybe they're experiencing some sort of other, situation. Maybe they've, taken all their siblings out of the home. They have access to Safe Place sites all over Tulsa County. And this is actually a national program that we facilitate, but they can go into any one of these Safe Place sites and just say, I need a safe place. And every employee is trained to basically call our shelter. Our shelter will go pick them up and bring them directly there. Our emergency adolescent shelter serves teenagers. Like I mentioned before, often these are teenagers who might be in between placement and foster care systems. So as we know, kind of the foster families are hard to come by. And especially for those teenagers are hard. And that's why Youth Services was founded, really, is because we know being a teenager is hard. Raising a teenager is hard. It is just, there's a lot happening in a teenager's life that's causing strife, whether that's biological, social, figuring yourself out, experimenting, trouble in school. There's just a myriad of experiences and issues and little things that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out who you are. So I kind of call it like, I call them kids very lovingly, our little kids and our big kids. So little kids is like shelter and safe place. And then on our kind of big kids side, we've got like street outreach programs. So serving those young people, 18 to 24 that are living on the streets or living in their cars, or maybe they're even just couch surfing, but don't really have a place to call their own, or not living with their family. And we also have a very large housing program. So really working to kind of mitigate, again, that kind of transitional living that maybe, you and I were lucky enough to either have, we went to college or we had supportive families. A lot of our young people don't. So really trying to figure out how to get them an apartment that, just puts a roof over their head. But then we also provide them with case management services. We don't just put a young person in housing and say, okay, here you go, bye. Our case managers check on them, sometimes daily, if that's necessary. At least weekly, just checking in face to face and helping them kind of figure out how to live, how to solve problems, how to be in an apartment. Often our young people weren't taught how to clean. We've literally had like cleaning classes, like how do you get this stain out of this couch, or how do you sweep this stuff up off the floor? And it's just these little things that we've taken for granted. Along with that too is our employment and education. So helping young people figure out, do you want to go back to school? If you do, what does that look like for you? How do you get a job, maintain a job, do an interview, write a resume? What are you even looking for? Let's talk about what's out there. So again, these case managers really work with our young people to kind of figure out what they need and what's going to serve them the best. We also have under another kind of umbrella is counseling. So our counseling services are, no barrier. You don't need a referral. These are for teenagers. Every teenager gets seen within a week. We know that when something happens in a teenager's life, it's pretty immediate and it needs an immediate fix. So we really work to kind of get them seen, get them the help and support that they need right away. So within that, we've got individual and family counseling. We do offer substance abuse counseling, and then we offer community-based counseling. So working to bring counseling services into the community, whether that's the juvenile detention facility, whether that's the court, the family and juvenile court, whether that's a home and we're just serving a family that might not have access to transportation and might not, be able to get their kid to a counseling appointment. And that's a very real barrier, especially for parents. We all have felt the crunch of things getting more expensive. Some of our parents work 2-3 jobs and just aren't home. So how can we provide their child and their young person with services and support when that's not something that they can, deliver them to? So, and we've got youth development. So this is like anything from health education, support services, leadership groups, our youth coffee house, which was one of our original programs at YST, which is basically a safe, sober space for middle schoolers and high schoolers on Saturday evenings. I remember when I was growing up, the Youth Services was there when I was growing up, but when I was growing up, what did we do? We went to the movie theater, or we went to the mall, and there's just so much opportunity for trouble that you don't even necessarily want to get into. It's just there. And when you're a teenager, you kind of just go with the flow, right? Because that's what your friends are doing. So it's like coffee house is there to kind of provide that space that is safe, but it's a space for them. I fully understand. I do not know what 14 and 15-year-olds want to do on a Saturday night anymore. I get it. I've been there, but I can't remember. And it's probably way different now. So we have young members of our staff that work with them and ask them and plan it with them. And, what do you guys want to do? So it's everything from, slam poetry to arts and crafts to a D&D group night that they do. So it's just
awesome.
And it's cool. Young people actually put their phones away and talk to each other, which is a pretty cool thing to see. It makes us really happy.
As a father of a 15-year-old daughter, that would be awesome to see that happen.
Right. They actually interact with each other. It's great. Yeah. And then finally, that last umbrella that we have is delinquency prevention. So this is everything from first offender courses, which are a way to take young people who have maybe committed minor offenses, taken a Pepsi from Quick Trip, just acting out, experimenting, seeing what's what in the world, and providing them with classes that are really focused on goal setting, talking about repercussions of actions, talking about the future, talking about planning, healthy relationships, just all these kinds of nitty gritty things that you might not get in a classroom. You learn, but how, some kids need to learn a little bit differently. The wonderful part about this is that it's really classes, but with the young person and the parent. So what we've heard a lot of is that, it's not necessarily what we talk about in class, but it's the ride home afterwards that really the parent and the teen are kind of, they've been in the same space, hearing the same things, and they get to kind of chat about what those things are. And we've heard from a lot of our parents, this is really it. This is where the magic happens, is talking about those things, talking about goals, talking about the future, talking about, consequences and what that looks like. We also have a youth court program. So young people who volunteer, who might be interested in law careers or just learning more about court, they get to kind of, be the jury, the judge, the bailiff, the prosecutor, the defender, and they kind of have trial by peer, in which young people who And it's really cool that it's young people who, again, it's minor offenses, took a Pepsi from Quick Trip, or maybe they vandalized a bathroom in school, something like that, where they actually, go and get sentences handed down by their peers. Often this looks like restitutions, apologies, nothing, community service, nothing that is, official in terms of that kind of adult court level, but it's really, really effective in terms of, you have somebody who's just a little bit older than you looking in your eye and saying, like, what you did was not good. And that,
right,
here is the most powerful. And then finally, under that program, under that umbrella, we have our reentry program. So this is for young people who have committed a serious enough offense to be in placement. So whether that's a detention facility or a locked group home, secured group home, what we can do is we can go in and provide them with case management services. I often say, if I'm giving a tour or something of youth services, I often say, a lot of what our case managers do is just establish a trusting relationship with a young person. A lot of these young people haven't ever had that in their life. Adults are something that they don't trust, and they are often really really wary of. And I get it. A lot of them haven't had great experiences, whether that's with the system or, if they have a bad life at home. A lot of what our case managers do is just establishing that. And I think that's particularly true in our reentry program. These are case managers that go in and just look at the young people, and it's just an honest communication. What are you guys doing? Why did you do it? Like, what was the point? What were you hoping to get out of? And like, then when you get out, which will happen, how are you not going to reoffend?
Yeah.
How are you not going to get back into those cycles and in those circles that just, that will just make this a lifetime for you? You have such a future ahead of you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we're going to get you there. So that's kind of where we stand now. We've got a lot going on. we do a lot. And kind of moving back from there, we were founded in 1969 with about 8 volunteer staff members. And really, it was just a group of therapists who really saw a need for counseling for teens. Like I said before, it's, being a teenager is really hard. And I think these counselors really recognized that and saw a gap for teens in these services. Like, teenagers are going through so much. They really need people who are specifically focused on them and their experience. So we work to provide that. We also started with our youth coffee house, again, just seeing that need for a safe, sober space, and working a lot with the juvenile justice kind of sector of our worlds. These are, again, really, really underserved teens that just need help and just need support. And so we started with, 8 staff members, and we're up to over 100. We started with 3 different small little programs, and we're now sitting at about 20. So what we try to do as an agency is look around and listen to our youth and say, what are we missing? How can we support you? What's going on in your lives that we aren't noticing? Which is kind of how we added and will continue to add our programs, is talking to our clients, talking to our kids, talking to our nieces and nephews, and talking in schools and saying, what are we missing? And what can we do about it? And then stepping in where we can and when we're able.
Yeah. Well, and one thing we've done for a long time, for like 8 of the years that we've done charitable work like this, we worked with the Northwest Arkansas Children's Shelter, and they were mainly focused, boys over 13 or 14 couldn't go if they were like looking for a foster home, because so kind of that same middle ground, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think this is going to be great, because those 14-year-old boys, I've been a 14-year-old boy before, their brains are like, cars are cool, and so then I think we can take, and I don't know, man. I just really hope that we can help some kids not make bad decisions anymore and end up at the racetrack more and be around cool people and make good contacts. And the great thing about car people is that literally, I mean, I have 17-year-old friends. I have 87-year-old friends that are all my race car friends. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and we're all going in one direction. So that's what I think, that's what's great about the car community. And then Rodney Reeves here asked, can folks donate to provide food for the kids when they're at the track? Yes, we'll have food vouchers that I'll send over to you guys. And track food is kind of like this whole thing, right? Chicken tenders, hamburgers, hot dogs, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of it's a whole experience.
Perfect.
So we'll send over some vouchers for you guys too. But that opened up the conversation of needs, right? Because as one thing that we always talked about with the children's shelter was like a lot of times those people leave wherever they're at with the clothes on their back.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem, right? So as you get somewhere, now you've got to have clothes to change into the next day, or you can wear the same clothes for 3 days. That's fine, but after that, you probably want something different. So kind of give us a rundown of where people can donate and where they can see this. This was a picture I pulled obviously from Facebook, but where can they find this constantly updating list?
Yeah, sure. So I can start with that. We work really hard to make sure our website is updated with kind of our current needs for all of our programs. This particular photo was really a need we had, especially when it was so cold, kind of last week, but then a few weeks ago too. We just had no pants to give our young men. We had no pants of any size, of any cut or fabric. We had nothing. So this was really like, a few weeks ago, we had no underwear. And you kind of, that's one of those things that we don't think much about, but you like to wear your underwear for like a day and then that's for that underwear, right? But a lot of these young people, they don't have anything else. So, underwear is something we go through at, a ridiculous rate, just blaze through it because it's, it's underwear, right? So we don't give used underwear. So it's one of those things. And we really work to keep our social media channels updated. Again, on our website, you can also, anybody can always call our main office. It's really, really easy. Our people know what's going on and know what our current needs are. In terms of things that are needed, really, if you think about kind of the broad expanse of our programs and kind of fill in, everything that a young person might need to stay in the emergency shelter, everything from clothes to hygiene products to, bags like luggage, backpacks. You're right. When kids come, often they come with like a Target bag full of everything
whatever they could grab to throw in.
Yeah, exactly. And then, blankets, obviously for our kids outside, it's sleeping bags and tents and even like little camping stoves are really useful for them. Little solar chargers for their phones, little, anything that they can use to kind of mitigate living outside in the winter, hats, scarves, gloves. And then, we take all clothes, all gently used clothes. We take the only thing we don't use that we don't give used, is underwear, bras, socks. That's the only thing, but everything else, we have a clothing closet. We kind of keep it like a thrift store where young people could just go kind of shop for what they want. And it's free. But then, we also take furniture. Our housing units, we stock fully with furniture. And when our young people kind of complete the program and graduate, they're allowed to take whatever they want. No holds barred.
They'll have to have it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big expense. And they don't have that. And they don't have, probably grandma, grandpa saying, here are my dishes and here's my bedside table. So we really make that, everything, lamps, beds, bedside tables, kitchen table, things like that, a chair, a framed picture actually is huge. Just, making your apartment homey in a place that you actually want to come back to.
I want to put this out here real quick for the folks that are watching this from the circuit. If you bring anything, that I don't care what it is, we will have an empty trailer. If you want to bring gently used clothes, for all the guys that have gone through this winter and you've put on weight, you're not going to wear those pants anymore. They don't fit. Bring those things. Let's get these kids in some clothes. Pictures. I know people have attics of stuff. I've got stuff in the garage my wife would love to get rid of. So we'll bring a lot of that stuff over.
And whatever is extra too,
we'll bring it to you.
Truck.
We'll
perfect. Come get it.
So we'll be posting about that for everybody that's that's paying attention there. Now, the main thing is, let's talk about money donations because it costs money to run those programs. And so folks that live maybe out of state that aren't going to make it to the circuit in person, where can they donate? How can they?
Sure. So our website has a link in the top right corner that says donate. It's super easy. It's www.yst.org. And, you have a couple options. We totally understand that it's not a one size fits all thing. You'd be surprised at what a little bit can go a long way. So you can kind of choose if you want to make a one-time donation. That's amazing. If you want to become a part of our monthly giving club, Team YST, that's amazing too. And the reason I say, it doesn't take much is I often think about, even $5 a month for an agency like Youth Services or really any nonprofit agency. It really isn't much for us. Like for me, that's skipping one coffee out in the morning, one day a week. Maybe I make my coffee at home. That's it depends on what you drink too, right? Like I drink an Americano and that's pretty cheap, but that's $5. If you drink a latte, that can be $10 that you skip one coffee, but that's $120 a year. If 5 people do that, that's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So I love to think about it in terms of, what am I kind of giving up that is so small for me, but actually for a young person is massive and can make a world of difference. So www.yst.org. It's just right there in the top corner, big green button that says donate. That's
awesome. And one of the biggest things we always talked about with other events in the past was like the children's shelter. They had it down to, I think it was like $280 to feed a kid, right? A meal or a day or so. I think it's maybe a day. By the time you start figuring that out, like if somebody donates $100, now you've fed 40 meals. That's a lot. When you start looking at the reach of what can be done. Plus, I'm telling you, we get some car people kind of involved. We get like 300 car people involved, and things are going to happen. It's going to be great, and people are going to share, which that's what we want. This is one of the biggest things is raising awareness for you guys, trying to broaden the reach for children's services and YST, Youth Services of Tulsa. Man, been around a long time. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really feel like this is going to be a long relationship. You guys are awesome. You guys, it's been a lot of fun to watch since we kind of started this whole conversation back in October or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we so appreciate it, and we are really excited to be here tonight. I've loved chatting with you all, and I'm really excited for April. I've never been to one of these things. I'm so excited to see what's what and have a totally new experience. It's going to be really fun.
Oh yeah. Just wait. You're going to be ruined. You thought Formula One was cool. You wait till you see these cars driving around that are going like 150 miles an hour, and then they get in they hook these little trailers up, and then they drive to the next track. So
perfect.
It's going to be a blast.
You're going to have a convert.
Oh yeah. And then like in the email I sent earlier, I'd like to talk to you about maybe a group coming to do the racer party with us as well. So we can figure all that out as we get closer. Thank you so much, Carolyn. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you both. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys. So listen, go right now and go follow Youth Services of Tulsa. They're a great follow. They have it's really a lot of fun. It's not give me. It's what they're doing. The Taco Tuesday. I need to be over in Tulsa on Tuesdays to do this T-Town tacos and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get involved, YST.org or follow them on Facebook, Youth Services of Tulsa. It's super cool. And I'm glad I've said this a few times now. This is really something I feel like I've been wanting to find for a while. We've helped the Children's Shelter, Northwest Arkansas Children's Shelter for a long time. We worked with Southwest Missouri, Children's Haven last year. That was kind of that middle ground between being, removed from a bad situation into a foster care, kind of that middle ground there. And so it sounds like Youth Services has a ton of programs to do all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Appreciate everybody for going through that with us. I know that probably raised a lot of emotions for a lot of folks. I know it does for me. I want kids to have a good chance. And like I say all the time, I want kids to know that the car community gives a shit about them, and we want them to be good humans. And man, I'm telling you, 14-year-old boys, we're going to have some converts, man. There's going to be some dudes that weren't necessarily car guys before this event, and they're going to be big time car guys after this. So,
yeah. And there's a lot of people watching that have their own merchandise and stuff that maybe you've got one or two left of an old, I don't know, shirt, hoodie, whatever. Those things you can bring with and donate. There's going to be car people that come out of this weekend that are going to love some, automotive T-shirts or hoodies or anything like that.
Well, and the folks that have been around and have followed on this crazy journey we've done for 13 years now, hosting car events for charity, they know, man. You get around a whole bunch of folks, and people start kind of pouring stuff out, and man, it's amazing. You know, one year we raised literally a truckload of toys for the shelter. One year we raised so many toys that we had to split it between the shelter and a foster care program. So last year we had a mound that was about what 3 feet tall and 8 feet long of just like diapers and supplies. I mean, the
Right.
car community is awesome. You guys are
Yeah.
amazing. All right, let's get to it, man. Lead us into the Deech work stuff here, please.
All right. Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, fuel pumps, pump modules, fuel rails, regulators, filters, lines and fittings, and surge tanks, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 2200 horsepower. Since its founding, Deechworks has been committed to delivering quality, innovation, and precision to the automotive performance industry. Every DW product is built to maximize reliability and efficiency, ensuring optimal fueling solutions for racers, tuners, and performance enthusiasts worldwide. With a focus on engineering, excellence, and industry-leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high-performance fueling. So you guys know we got our own code with Deechworks, so you get 10% off using code DDR10.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was typing stuff there.
No, you're good.
Well, dude, when we were on the phone with Krista a couple weeks ago from Deechworks, and she said that they were going to make an announcement in a few weeks, and then told us who was hired as director of sales for Deechworks. I'm like, this dude is so smart. Mark Campbell, if you guys don't know, is one of the top level 850 class racers in the SN95 Mustang here, Turbo LS setup. Met him on Drag Week 2022, and this car just gets down. First 2 days were 850s with one and done. That was really like when I was like, okay, this is very, very serious stuff right here.
Right.
So after that, had a turbo. I think he had a turbo seal go out, and still turned in an 855. I think what I put in the notes here. Yeah, 8553. Okay, so he's still in the running, and then an 858. So even with hurt turbos, he still ended up doing it. Ended up staying up 24 hours fixing the car one night. I mean, like, just true nitty gritty drag and drive guy, and worked at Comp Cams for a long time. So knows a lot of the same people we know within the Edelbrock group. And it's just one of the smartest dudes that's out there. And so now he is the director of sales over at Deechworks. This is going to be great for the drag and drive community because that dude knows how to create an entire system that works, right? And that's the whole purpose behind all the sponsors that come on here, is to help teach, right? We don't want to just keep using parts because somebody else used that same part. That may not even be what you want, what you need, you know?
Right.
And so we're going to have him on. He's going to be on March 12th. I'm pumped. We're going to give him an hour, and that dude, he's going to fill our brain with knowledge. So I'm really excited for him to be on, and obviously be working with the Deechworks team. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like he'll have a lot of information, and I'll be able to learn quite a bit, especially, Turbo LS Mustang. He's going to probably give me a lot of information that I'm going to need for building my own car. Super excited.
That's for sure. All right, man, let's do this. Let's keep rolling here. If you want to lead us into race car friends and stuff.
Yep. Again, thanks everybody that's tuned in so far. Tons of comments. Again, appreciate everybody, every one of our race car friends. Again, I made a bunch of new race car friends, messaging people, friend requesting people for the circuit, just to get pictures of cars to make our artwork. So tons of new people. I appreciate everybody that has responded and everybody that's been watching tonight. And of course, our sponsors. We talk about it all the time, how this wouldn't even be possible without these guys. Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Builds Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. And of course, we talk about it every week, our gentleman's agreement. Again, it's simple. If you're enjoying this live stream, hit that like button, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching. It's our own little gentleman's agreement. No contracts, no strings. Just you showing some love to us and us promising to keep delivering the content you came here for. So keep the vibe alive, like and subscribe, and let's keep rolling.
Yeah. And then PowerTube TV, love the guys over there. Brian and I talked a couple times. Man, they've got this Power Fest deal. It's going to be nuts. If you're wanting to find car, automotive, television, PowerTube TV is great. Pastime, Pinks, which are both coming back in 2025. And we've got a ton of content over there as well. And then, of course, there's, they've got the app, but they've also got YouTube channel. I mean, it's great. Content creators galore, all the fun stuff going on at PowerTube. And WAF Racing, we're going to kind of kick off this segment. We're going to bring on Devin Vandrhoof here momentarily. We're going to play the video first, but then bring Devin on. We're going to talk about Sick Week first in this first segment. And then we're going to stop for the power or performer-built transmissions ad read. And then we're going to talk about everything else that this dude does. So kick it off, man.
Have you ever wished you could fit your toolbox in the palm of your hand, or really needed that extra set of hands while making a jet change at the track? At WAF Racing, we specialize in designing and manufacturing top-tier automotive tools that are made strong to withstand travel, yet lightweight not to slow you down. Tested in-house and at the track by the team at WAF Racing, every part is made by racers for racers. From compact toolkits, carburetor top hats, or spark plug storage containers, our tools are precision engineered and manufactured in the USA. Made of the strongest materials, every piece strikes the perfect balance of durability and dependability. Maybe you need something custom just for you. We do that too. You need WAF Racing in the passenger seat for your next drag racing event. Head over to wafracing.com today to take your racing experience to the next level. WAF Racing. Design, build, race.
Yeah, buddy. Love Chris and the team over there. See folks here making comments. All right, let's bring in Mr. Devin Vandrhoof, who's he's in the shop tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, this is where I live. Yeah, I don't ever really get to leave here. So yeah, no, I'm in the shop.
Yeah.
In here for 3 hours.
Dude, you work your ass off, man. It's pretty awesome to see all this stuff, and I'm sure you post about 10% of what you actually do.
Yeah, we don't. I don't share everything just because I assume that most people would be like bored or annoyed with like seeing post after post of like dumb stuff. But yeah, we went through. Sick Week was pretty tough. Like worse than it should have been. It should have been way easier, but it wasn't. And prior to Sick Week was tough too. Like everything was just honestly, the past 3 months of life have just been hard. And I blame it all on getting married in November.
Yeah, married in November, you literally come back from your wedding / honeymoon and go right into Southeast Street and eat.
Yeah, we did that. And that's where it all went bad is when Laura and I got married. So I blame her. We did that. Then we thrashed, put the car together, went to PRI. I had to make sure the car drove into PRI. Like there's no way I was just going to push it everywhere. And got out of PRI, tested one time before we were off to once or twice, I think. No, just once. Yeah. Before we went to the week early to Sick Week, tried to test in Orlando. Rain got us down there. Then we left, came back home, changed some stuff, and then went back down to Sick Week. Then we got hit with more rain, and then we broke a transmission like you just showed.
Mm-hmm.
What else did we break? We changed so much stuff. It was unreal before Sick Week. Like it was so dumb. I don't know, whatever, but it's fun, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of our questions was what all did you update on the car before Sick Week?
So last year we pulled the car apart and we put a traditional style 4-link in it and put double frame rail. Like we added double frame rails to the car and moved the engine back. The engine used to be sitting further forward than factory, so we just moved it back to like an inch below behind factory location. So which is most people are like, well, why didn't you move the engine back a long time ago? I don't know. So there we have it. We just did that recently, and it turned into a lot of differences with the way the car works. So I mean, it got a really big makeover. We went to a spindle mount front wheel. We lost about 175 pounds out of the car. Real 4-link, new rear end housing, new converter, new transmission, we did a whole bunch of stuff. The engine and the turbos stayed the same. The car got like stripped and powder coated and then painted and all that stuff. But really between PRI and Sick Week, we changed a lot. Right? We didn't even race the car before PRI, and we still changed stuff like idiots. I shouldn't say idiots. It's idiot. It's me. I'm the idiot. It's me.
I'm idiots. Yeah.
Yes, I'm idiots. Yes.
Watching that car being built, man, I really was hoping you were fixing to do the cage white. Phew. That looks so cool.
We thought about it, and I really I was on board to do it. The problem is that white shows everything, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and in the interior, it is really bad. And I'm glad we didn't do it white, especially after that windshield caved in, because then it would have just been like destroyed,
Yeah, it'd have been everywhere.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. That was a pretty cool time.
That was, I wouldn't say cool. That is one of the wildest situations I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. If everybody's watching out here, don't put your glass windshield in with butyl. It'll move at 225 miles an hour and cave in.
Interesting. Yeah, that was the question, is like what happened. So we've got a video, you guys explain. I mean, you probably talked to every media person that was at Sick Week about this, but man, it ripped the center mount for the roof, for the convertible top. It did a bunch of.
It did a pretty good job at screwing up a lot of stuff. So the windshield, when on butyl, that butyl tape stuff, it stays real soft. I didn't know this, but the windshield slid up, and because it's tempered glass, it hit the metal corners, and then it shattered the glass and caved in. So it just kind of was a bad installation. And I know now for the future that it has to be held in with acrylic. I mean, I had a guy come out and do the windshield for me before PRI. He had done them in the past and never had a problem. And this time he just used butyl. I guess, I don't know, not thinking, or because he was worried about getting acrylic, glue on stuff. He just used butyl tape, and we learned the hard way. I mean, I'm not mad at him or anything. I'm just really glad that I'm really, really glad that Josh drives this car and not me, because he did an amazing job of. If you guys don't know Josh Davis, he's my best friend. He drives this thing, and we love doing these these events together. But he doesn't get worked up about anything.
He's a personality, man. That guy, he is over the top.
He like that picture that you're showing right now, I think that was at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I just got done talking to a police officer and taking a leak in the bushes, and the woman with the police officer was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm pissing, and I don't care, and I'm too tired to care, so just deal with it." And she's like, "Well, we're here because there's cars here and we don't want anybody breaking into them." I'm like, "I know, that white one right there is mine." And she's like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Can you just let me finish digging a leak?" And she's like, "Yep, see ya." And I turned around, and Josh is bolting the hood on. He just gets in when you get so tired because you don't sleep, he's the dude who's just like, "All right, we just have to keep going. Doesn't matter." You know what I mean? I'm pretty much ready to just screw it. Let's just quit, So
for him to keep that car together, because I think you said it best. It was like the third parachute hitting as the windshield come in. I mean, you got to think about that. Like that thing suddenly is full of air. Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, so what's funny is like, so we have radios, like we can talk to each other in the car, right? So we have a routine, right? I come across the radio every single time and say the same thing after every pass. And the way it works is like I make a pass, I see the chutes pop, I see him slowing down because I don't want to come across the radio and be like, yelling in his ear like an idiot. You know what I mean? And then when I see that everything looks as if he's got it all under control, I come across the radio and I say, "Hey man, everything good?" And every time he's like, "Yep, we're good. I'm going to grab the chutes. See you back in the pits." So, okay. Well, this time I said, "Hey, man, everything good?" Because I had no idea nothing happened with the windshield, And he's like, "Yeah, it's a little windy. The windshield caved in." And I was like, "What?" Because like the radios, you're over a half mile away. So like they kind of like get a little staticky, I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yo, just come down here." I was like, "All right." So I ride down there. I'm on the scooter and and he's driving back towards me and I'm like, "Yo, what's wrong with the window?" And I was like, "Oh, it broke." Okay. So I like pull up next to him and like he's hanging out the window like Ace Ventura because he's like trying to see. And I'm like, "Hey man, are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah. Uh, can you ride next to me and let me know that if I'm gonna hit anything? Cause like my neck hurts hanging it out the window and I'm really tired already." And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." So like we ride back and he's just like cool as a cucumber, man. Like nothing bothers him. Like that's like Josh makes these events like so much cooler for me because like I'm the polar opposite. I'm like a nervous, like frantic disaster in everything in life, but I mean like especially a drag and drive stuff.
Well,
So
and I think somebody said it best a couple weeks ago. Cooper. He said you're literally listening to everything. He's like you're driving 800 plus miles, listening to every sound the car makes.
yeah. Well, the coolest part about doing a drag and drive when you're nervous about stuff is by day 2, when you're so tired, you just don't care.
Yeah.
Like you just immediately you're just like, F it. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like if it breaks, it breaks. We just get to go home early. So,
Right. Well, let's talk about day one. And did that affect your strategy?
oh man. So yeah, it got thrown out the window. I'll give you like a quick synopsis. Before sick week, we went out and tested locally. We went like 105, 274 or something to the middle, like to the 330. Like it was fat. Like it was a 410 or something, 184. I didn't turn the lockup on. We had the wrong gear in it, too loose of a converter, like all this stuff. I was like, "Yo, this thing's a hot rod, right?" Um, go home, change the gear, change the stator in the converter. We figure we're gonna be able to test. We don't get the test. We show up like completely like in left field. We get a couple of test hits in, and we got the car to run like in the 420s in the eighth. And which is like a tenth and a half off of where we just were. Like I should have just put the car right back to the way it was. Um, we find some stuff in data and say, okay, we should be good to go. Well, we go out on day 1 and I screwed up because we always race the car to the eighth mile because like there's no point in running to the quarter until you absolutely have to. So I screwed up and I had the chute set to automatically deploy at like 3.8 into the run. So what happened was the car went out on day 1, pass number 1, smooth as silk. It went like 4, I think like a 21 or something like that to the eighth, um, or a 24 to the eighth. And then the chutes hit at 3.8. And then by the time they actually blossom, it's like, 4.1 or something into the run, 4.2 into the run. And driving through those dual chutes like that, you can't really do it. Just started shaking the tires real bad. So it wound up coasting to a 7.0. So we were like, okay, we're going to get another one. That was like a solid, like bottom 630 tune up. Like it should have went 630, like bottom 630s. So we got, we were like, oh, we're good. Like it worked. Everything worked the way it was supposed to. Chassis is doing what it's supposed to. I just screwed up. Like I fat fingered. I just forgot about it. So everybody like that's watching, if you guys know me about Holly EFI, you guys like I screw up too. You know what I mean? Like don't feel bad, man. Like everybody screws up. So we didn't get another run on day one. So that like ruined our entire week. Like it was game over for us because there's no way that like just simple math tells you there's no way that we can catch number one um, with a 7-0 when he turned in like a 648 or something like that. There's just no way, you know. And I knew Brett and Jim weren't going to slow down. It's not like they were going to go 648 and then be like, oh, we're good to go now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know them well enough that they're just going to keep pushing. So that kind of just like it kind of really shot us in the foot. Like to be honest with you, we were so bummed about it, and like we left so late on day one that I was like contemplating turning around and just going home. Like I was just so, you know what I mean? Like it's just,
Yeah.
you know,
I think there would have. I think there would have been a lot of that if people weren't having as much fun as they were thought they were going to, because there was several people that had that same comment. Like, man, day one pass was shitty. Like you could see people leave and they spun at like 60 or 100 feet. They would let the car gather back up and then get back in it because there was not going to be another opportunity to make another pass.
yeah, it was. I mean, like I get it. Like they, you know, the sick crew did a good job. Like it's the, you
Mhm.
know, weather. It is what it is. You know, like what are you going to
Yeah.
do, right? Um, and I was just really bummed about it. You know, it was just really. I was honestly hoping that like there was going to be 50 or 60 cars left and somebody would just murder the racetrack and oil it down like so bad where they were like, all
Yeah.
right, day one doesn't even count. Like I was
Yeah.
praying for somebody to just leave like a transmission cooler line off. Like the
There was
one time
somebody.
you
There was a
let,
lot of folks trying.
yeah, oh, I know. But I mean, like they just weren't doing a good enough job. Like after they oiled it down, they just should have just started swerving across both lanes, like just getting it everywhere, you know? Uh, that's a terrible thing to say, but you know that was so day one really shot us in the foot. And honestly, at day one, I thought we would have been screwed to even just win our class. You know, like it was like, man, how do we make this up? You know, so but then it progressively got worse as the week went on for us. So that was a really cool thing that I wasn't anticipating. You know,
Yeah. I want to talk about this too because I'm wondering, has K&N come on board yet as a sponsor?
no, they're clowns.
Come on,
They're
K&N.
clowns. Like if Kanan's watching, they should literally be like, they should have at least sent me a damn T-shirt or something, you know, like just something, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell that story.
Okay, so that's day two. So we're at Bradenton. So the day one we left the racetrack at like 7:30 at night. We drove 9 hours to Bradenton, right? So like that was a really cool time. Um, and that was the first time we drove the car on pump gas since I had it all pulled apart and everything. So like
Oh,
we had a couple little struggles on the road. Like, dude, I forgot to tighten up like some fittings inside of the fuel cell. So like we're on the side of the highway, like with two hands in a fuel cell, drenched in fuel. Like it's whatever. It was just like all around crappy, but whatever. So day two, we get to Bradenton. We're in quarantine. Um, the best part of day two was that we were able to pit underneath the bleachers, so we were able to stay out of the sun. So that was exciting for me, you know. Uh, the, so we wait around, we get in lanes, and I was just fried, man. I was already shot out from like the week before sick week, and like how like long that was. Like we missed the whole part where like I drove to Florida and had a transmission rebuilt at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like yeah, that happened like 3 days prior. Like it was just a disaster. So I forgot them filters in there, right? Like those little filters, right? There's one for turbo, and there's like this little aluminum box that's made that like hold like it's a round turbo inlet, like 7-inch inlet, and then this little box that like clips on it and it holds them filters, right? And you can just grab a hold of those filters like through the front bumper and pull them on and put them on and pull them off. And I just forgot, right? Like so we have a changeover routine and that's part of it. And it's not on my little printed out list because like it was just such an obvious thing that you have to do, you know? Yeah, well, it's on my printed out list now. So, um, but I didn't even know they were still in. Like after the windshield caved in, you know, we had a crowd around us. So somebody came over and said, "Hey man, there's an air filter in your grill." I was like, "What?" And I looked down, I was like, "No way." And sure enough, like one of them fell out. And I like reached in there and I like the other one was still like stuck in the mount. And I was like, no way. This is like, there's no way we just did this. And like I looked at the slip, I was like, this stupid car went 223 mile an hour with these air filters. Like, this is awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So I was wondering why it was slow. Like that should have been like a 29 or a 30. And that's why, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's what it was. The filter, to answer that question, what the filter was originally for, I think it's for a like a Honda, I think a Accord hybrid. I think that's what it was for.
That's
Interesting.
Yeah, it was it was like a literally like they're like $25 panel filters from K&N. Like they're like, I don't know. I bought 4 of them because I figured I'd lose some of them because they're so small, you know. But there they are. They work pretty good. So if anybody from K&N's watching, I want a T-shirt, 3XL.
Yeah. Send this guy some stuff, man. Go 640 with Honda Accord air filters. I mean, dude, let's be honest. K&N filters, all that power, baby.
Right, exactly. You know, hell, we didn't even spray them down with the oil. You know, like we didn't even use the tune-up kit, the oil, and so. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what year Accord it was. It's like an older one, like a '07 or something, or whatever, '09. I literally went and ordered, like I went on to K&N's website and just found dimensions and like I ordered like 7 different filters that were close, and then I returned the other 6. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How'd you figure that out?
I just you know, an hour on K&N's website and then just started ordering them, you know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so then we got the windshield put in. No time auto glass. That dude ruled. Like, so I'm not from Florida, but Brett LaSalle is from Florida. So I was like, hey, do you know anybody around here that does glass? And he was like, yeah, there's this guy. We made a Facebook post. I had like hundreds of people reaching out to me, like, hey, this guy, that guy, this guy. Well, anyway, I literally just started replying to people because I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, well, we're done. I was like, man, I'll pay whoever shows up. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like Laura is at home, so she can't stop me from swiping a credit card. Like she can't, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like she ain't gonna cancel it on me, you know, and like leave me stranded. So like I was just like, we'll pay whoever. I don't care what it costs. So that dude showed up and he confirmed the butyl thing. Like he was like, yeah, this is the problem. I said, okay, fair enough. So
Wow.
so yeah, then we hit the road.
Man, that's crazy. So you'd had how much sleep? Did you have any sleep, I guess, going into Bradenton?
I think we had about 2 hours.
God dang.
You know, that
Man.
was a pretty good night, actually.
Yeah.
That
Right.
was actually a pretty good night. Now, let me tell you, but yeah, yes, Laura, I know. We have like company cards, and I don't know which one to use for what. I don't know. Whatever. Shut up, Laura. It doesn't matter. Uh, so, yeah, no. So we got about 2 hours or so of sleep before Bradenton, and then that night, the drive from Bradenton to Orlando, that one wasn't that bad. It was only like 200 or something miles, like
Mhm.
220. Drive went smooth, like no hiccups, no real problems or anything. And but it took forever, probably because like it just sucks driving these cars like with a trailer. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you
Mhm.
can just get in your truck and cruise at 80. You know. And plus, like the whole part of like doing these events is to go and enjoy the drive. You know, so like I say that the drive took forever and it sucked, but like the drive was like fun. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
now that it's
I
been a
think the
month,
route stops that day were awesome. Like I think you had the one little dive bar, and then man, I can't remember the other one, but it was a good one. I remember hanging out there for a while.
yeah, I didn't see either of those in the daylight. You know, we didn't see any. We didn't see a single. I can't think of a single checkpoint we saw in the daylight.
Mm.
I don't think we saw any of them in the daylight. I don't know. Yeah. Oh well. Uh, but yeah. So like that drive was pretty cool. It was late, but it was, you know, it was pretty smooth sailing. And then we got to Orlando. I think we probably slept for another 2-ish hours or so that night. And then no. Yeah. That's about right. I think so. Yeah. So then we racked up to 4 hours of sleep. So that was a big one. 4 hours total. Then we got to Orlando, and I was really like optimistic about Orlando, so that didn't work out nearly as good as planned. And I'm telling you, like we were just cursed this whole event, right? So um I'm like a drill sergeant when it comes to racing. So like anybody who's watching who is at sick week probably experienced me being a psychopath when it comes to racing. Uh and like honestly, the only reason that it's ever fun is because Josh is just like, yeah, shut up, we're gonna have fun, just calm down. You know what I mean? Like really, really that's it. So so we uh so we get in line and we're right behind Brett LaSala again. And I'm like, God dang, there's something up with him going down in the racetrack in front of us. So like I'm pretty sure the windshield caved in because him and Jim were on the side of the track after they made a pass throwing rocks at the windshield. Um, that's what I told him. Well, in Orlando, Brett threw out a banana peel in the form of transmission fluid everywhere.
Mm.
And so he went down the racetrack and he blew a transmission cooler line off of the car about 700 foot. And he went down right in front of us in the left lane. He doesn't have like radio, so it's not like he could call over to the radio to Jim and say like, "Hey, I just blew transmission fluid. Like, don't send anybody down here." Well, it was like a mist, right? So Josh, and like I don't blame, you know what I mean? Like I'm not mad about it or anything. Like don't let anybody take this the wrong way. Um, Go down, make it about 700 foot and annihilate the tires, like just gone. Coast to I don't even know. You probably know what we went. I don't know.
I don't remember at that point, but it wasn't fast.
It was like a 649 or something like that. It wasn't like it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was like 100. It was like 180 mile an hour or something. So so it was like definitely like I was like, yo, is everything? So I come over to radio and I said, is everything all right? And he's like, no, it just annihilated the tires. Like something's wrong. I was like, okay. I said, well, what was it? Oh yeah, right here. I found the slip. Look at that.
Yeah.
We went 422, 181 to the eighth, and then 648 and 195 to the quarter.
Yeah, I forgot that you guys went one and done each day.
Yeah, we were one and done every day, and not by choice. It was just because of like, screw it. What else could go wrong? So the I see you guys being super prepared.
Yeah, so for the folks that are listening on the podcast later, this is Taylor says, I always see you guys being super prepared. So my brain is like, oh yeah, they'll never have problems.
Dude, we were like, this was the most unprepared that we've ever been, honestly, like 100%, like it really is. Normally we would show up well, like a lot better tested. You know what I mean? Like the car would be a lot better tested. We'd have a tune-up figured out for every day, we would have had street miles on it beforehand. But it was we kind of got the experience, a drag and drive like what a lot of guys do, you know what I mean? Where they like just finished the car and showed up. And, in all reality, I think we did pretty good considering the problems, we did okay,
Second overall, win your class, no big deal.
Well, the thing that's bummer about it is that like we have a car like this convertible that's sitting behind me is a car that can run with Brett, and he knows it, and I know it, and we all know it. And the problem is that like I didn't do what was needed to be done and go test prior enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like just that's all there is to it. It's like not blaming anybody but ourselves. Like we just didn't have enough time or drive to go test enough. You know what I mean? And if you guys like follow my Facebook at all, when I say I don't have enough drive, you guys are probably thinking I'm insane because like we'll run off and go test like, oh, we got to go to Orlando, 9-hour ride. No problem. Let's leave now, Yeah. But it's just, we just didn't take enough time to do it. But, life gets in the way. You got a lot of other stuff going on. And,
well, you're a married man now.
Yeah, I know. And like that wench is dragging me down. You know what I mean? Like, so, we're busy in the shop, and Josh's business is busy, and it's like, you just kind of so.
Well, and that's one thing that I like a lot about Drag and Drive is that truly is the equalizer. It truly is.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so day one, look at Bailey. I mean, he spun hard or whatever happened there and crossed lane, so he couldn't even use his pass.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I know.
if he had been in, if Stefan had been able to test ahead of time with his car more, like there's a lot of that is so much different than what all this pro mod stuff I do, with Midwest and Keith and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. It was tough. Like like I said, man, day one was pretty disheartening. But I mean, it is what it is. Uh,
Oh
the
man.
does the car have a 599 in it the way it's set up? Yeah, Laura's mad because I call her a wench. So she came out to the shop to give me a dirty look. Should be all right. Does the car have a 599 in it the way it is set up? Man, so like Derek Putnam asked me this multiple times, and so did Luke. Oh, everybody's asked me this, and I'll say no just because we haven't done it yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I won't say we can do anything until it's done. Like, I won't say I'm not the type that says like, oh yeah, we're gonna go run this or we're gonna run that. No, we have to have already done it, and then I'll say maybe we could do it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Not the oh man, with the power it's got, it should go that. And then you never
Yeah, well,
get
like if you just like look at it on paper, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, probably,
right.
probably, but I
Yep.
don't know because it's not like. See, that's the thing is like there's not a lot of 3,100 pound Fox bodies that have gone 599 and drive them on the road, right? So like
Mhm.
it's not like you can like call up, Billy Bob over there and say, hey man, you know, how much power did it take for you to run 599? Like, no, like so it's
Yeah.
um but does it make the power to do it? Yeah. Is the car safe for it? Yes. Is everything built to do it? Probably. You know what I mean? But you don't know until you do it. So,
Mhm.
and honestly, if it went a 599, it would be such a Hail Mary, like not a Hail Mary, but like everything would have to go absolutely perfect. You know,
Yeah.
um, we've been the 60 foot that we need to go 599. We just haven't been the 330 or the eighth or the quarter mile that we need to go. So, like we're 1/5 of the way there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's what it takes though. You know what I mean? Like man, that is one of the
yeah,
hardest
yeah,
parts. And then who knows? Like you could go 599 on a perfectly prepped test run, and then you show up and oh now suddenly it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and A group radial is going. Well, shit, throw
right,
that
right,
out the
right.
window.
Yeah, like honestly, like Brett's on the cusp of getting there, right? But like I
Mhm.
think that if he don't get back out in the next like 3 to 4 weeks, he's not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt, I know. Laura and I have been discussing your emails. Uh,
Nice.
that's for something else. But no, like that's the thing is like Brett's on the cusp of doing it. You know what I mean? Like he's really is on the cusp of doing it. I mean, he's closer than anybody else out there. But weather plays a big role in it, especially with his combination where he is so. It has to be so dialed for efficiency. Air plays a big factor in that, and I think if he winds up waiting a month and he's in Florida, it probably won't come together because it's going to be too hot, or the air just won't be as good. Um, not to say that not to say that it won't happen in the middle of the summer. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, he might find some power and go, hey, look at that. But
Mhm.
um, after talking to him at Sick Week, it seemed as if he was on the same thought process of like, man, we better do this quick. You know,
Yeah.
so
That's interesting. So, what if we had started and ended at Bradenton or, Gainesville or something like that? Do you think we could have seen maybe something like that come about on day five?
um, potentially, yeah, I don't know, potentially. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know his program, very well. I mean, like him and Jim and all the whole like Joe Spetter, the guy who tunes the car for him, like they're all great dudes. And they put forth a boatload of effort. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like if you guys see their success or like our success or anything, like understand that it's not just um oh, they're lucky, or oh, they have these people helping them, or oh, they have, they're willing to spend the money or whatever. It's an unbelievable amount of hard work. Like, again, like, I don't know Brett like very, very well, but I do know that like every time I've talked to him, he's working. You know what I mean? Like, he's
100%.
working. Like, I've
Yep.
never got on the phone with him and him been like, oh no, I just, I just don't, I just can't, or I just paused my TV show and I can take 5 minutes to talk to you. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah.
Robert,
Rob Hollifield, I do not guarantee the top go to 599. He's the one who put the top on. So he's like the top master. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hey, big shout out to that dude. That windshield comes in at 200 and something miles an hour, and that top didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, that top, man, that's like the number one question we get asked is like, how does that top stay on? And honestly, it doesn't give us any problems. Like, the side windows pull out. Like, they everybody thinks they get pushed out. The interesting part of it is that there's a baro sensor inside the car. The car goes into a very small amount of vacuum going down the racetrack.
Mm.
It doesn't get pressurized. Everybody thinks it gets pressurized, and I thought it got pressurized too. It actually gets into a vacuum. Very strange. So air does some weird stuff,
Well, yeah, especially at that kind of speed.
Yeah. So, but yeah, then we got the day 4. Oh, day 3. The night of day 3 was rough, man. We slept like 45 minutes. Alan Whitaker got pretty sick on day 3.
Mhm.
Did you guys see the pictures of the like? We got I had a
IV.
yeah. So that what that was all about was Alan got really sick and really dehydrated, and it was too late. Like, if you've ever been really dehydrated, you've got to jump on it immediately with like liquid, right? If you don't jump on it immediately, you wait an hour or two. The only way you're coming back from it is IV. Like, the only way you're coming back. So he waited too long. He was stubborn, whatever. Alan, if you're watching, you'll never pull that crap again with me. Um, so he was kind of like apprehensive, and like, I wanted him to finish the week. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted him to finish, and because I knew he wanted to. And we got I found a mobile IV clinic woman to come out to the track. And
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I was like, well, we're going to do it too. So whatever. Like, it's up to you. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, it's not going to hurt. So, and I told Tom before he left for the day, I said, this is a service you guys need to offer.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was just thinking, is like, that would be good for the tracks, to have, or, a local IV place, mobile IV place to come out and do that. Because, man, I'm telling you, you don't drink enough water, you don't eat enough, and at this point, you've had 4.5 hours of sleep all week.
Yeah. And then this is where it got worse, right? So, like, if it wasn't for that IV, we probably would have like just had to quit. We left Orlando, and Alan. Okay, so Alan was done. Okay, we got him an IV, but he was done. It was over for Alan. He was not in good shape. He wasn't feeling good. So the plan was, okay. His buddy was going to drive the car to Gainesville, and Alan was going to ride in Rick's RV, Rick from Gear Vendors RV, to just kind of like relax and just try to recover, right? So we stay at the same hotel. So like Josh and I were staying in one hotel room, and then Alan was staying in another hotel room. So like Laura books all of our hotels together. So Rick takes off with Alan, and now we've got Alan's Monte Carlo, and we are going to go try to make a couple 100-mile drive with this car that, like, if you've seen his Monte Carlo, it's gorgeous. And like, we're all, you know what I mean? Like, we love the car. Like, I worked on the car extensively, and like, it's not like it's something that you're afraid to touch. It's just that it's his baby.
So nice.
So like, yeah, it's beautiful. So we hit the road, and his friend Bert was driving, right? And Bert, like, so this is funny. Bert, like, in the parking lot, he's like, listen, I'm not a good navigator. So just like, I'm like, all right. So if you leave Orlando, you have to make a right. He literally just got lost immediately. Like, he made a right and then like another right. He was immediately like, I don't even think we made it like an hour, or 20 minutes. And like, we had to call Bert. I'm like, where is he? And he's like, oh yeah, man, I don't know what happened. I'm lost. I'm like, God dang. So at that point, we met up with Bert, and then I said, all right, Josh, you drive Alan's car and I'll drive mine. And I'll just ride by myself. It's fine. Like you know what I mean? Like you go drive Alan's car, So like he's driving Alan's car, I'm driving mine. We're cruising along. We hit the first checkpoint. Everything's good to go. Like it's going well, And then we go through that area A1A, like where it's like 20-mile-an-hour zone the whole way. And somehow Josh and Alan's car got like ahead of me by like a couple traffic lights, and then like was able to just kind of take off. So like I didn't even see him anymore, but it didn't matter. I knew where I was going. I get pulled over and I get stopped. I didn't really get pulled over. They pulled over a car in front of me, but Florida does Florida things, right? So the cop like throws a broadside across 2 lanes of traffic and then like jumps out, and I'm like sitting there like, what? Uh-oh, like I'm getting shot. You know what I mean? Like something's going down. Like he's gonna shoot me. He pulled over the truck in front of me, and then so I shut the car off, and he comes over to my window and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean? You just blocked the whole road. Like, aren't you pulling me over?" He's like, "Get the hell out of here!" And I'm like, "You're literally blocking the whole road, dude. Like, get out of the way." And he's like, he turns, he looks at his cop car, and he's like, "Oh, I am. We'll just go around." I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" Like, so anyway, I was like, that anxiety you get, like you're getting pulled over. You're like, God, especially in a car like mine, you're like, God dang, here it goes,
Yeah.
So, like I'm cruising along, and I'm like, all right, we're good. And then I come up over a hill, and I see more police lights, and I was like, oh, great. And like I cruise right by, and it's freaking Josh and Bert and Alan's car, and I'm like, oh God dang it, you got to be shitting me. So I like get up to this gas station, like, and I pull over, and I call Josh, and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I said, I saw you got pulled over. He's like, dude, I'll call you back. I was like, all right. So he like whatever with the cop. The cop didn't pull him over. The cop was there to like try to help. He ran out of gas, or at least he thought he ran out of gas. It killed a fuel pump. That turned into 6 hours in a gas station parking lot. We got like people to bring us a pump. It just didn't work out. Like I'm very appreciative of everything that everybody chipped in to like try to help. It just did not work out. So like it's now like 4:30 in the morning. We are still 100 miles. Like we still didn't hit the checkpoint at the ice cream place, and we still had another like 45-minute drive past the ice cream place to the hotel. Yeah. So finally we're like in this parking lot. Like we made it out of the parking lot of the gas station and like down the road to the parking lot of the BJ's Wholesale Club, which was a lot nicer parking lot. But we made it there, and like it just turned into like Bert was like, just leave me here with the car. I'll figure out a way to get it towed. Like we're done. Just you guys have to finish. I was like, all right. So we left, got to the hotel, slept for 45 minutes. And then it was funny when we were walking into the hotel, there was guys eating breakfast, right? Like in the hotel bar, right? And when we came out to like because we literally like showered, like laid down for like 20 minutes and then just got back up and left, and like when we came out, the same dudes were still sitting there eating breakfast. And they were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, we're going. We're leaving." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. Yeah."
Yeah, there's no point in it. Like you can't sleep 2 hours, and now you've missed your run opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
So we made it to Gainesville, and then I yelled at Brett, and I said, "He's not allowed to go in front of us." I said, "I'm sick of the banana peels and the stones getting thrown at the windshields." And so we finally made one clean hit at Gainesville. When it wasn't the fastest thing that we could have put together, but I was like, we're playing it safe, we're playing it conservative. What do we go? 37 at 227. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like it was off by like look at that, like it's off by like 15 numbers in the eighth.
Golly, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but it was good enough, and I said, "Let's go." So, and then that was actually the earliest night we had, and then it was a decent drive. We stopped at the place where everybody was like, that little town that was cool. That's the only one we saw during the day.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that was sick week.
So tough, right? And then you win your class, win modified, which is awesome. Yep. Takes second overall. Second quickest car of the whole event, And then I want to talk about radial stuff, but hang,
Sure.
I'll talk about radials when we get back. Let me do this ad read for Performer Built because man, they're awesome to us. They're huge fans of Drag and Drive. So I'll do that. Be right back. All right, Performer Built is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performer Built Transmissions, the goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performer Built doesn't just rebuild transmissions; they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That's why they say our transmissions are not just built; they're Performer Built. Big shout out to Ryan, who will be on maybe next week, maybe on for episode 100 or episode 101 to talk about this new big mill that they bought. That's like badass, man. It's really badass, and it's going to help them take the 4L60 and 4L80 to whole different heights. You guys can see they actually build the transmission for the Price's family wagon there. This car's getting twin turbos. It's going to have a whole new outlook on life and make a bunch more power. And it hauls 4 or 5 adult men around at Six Summer, and I think that's the plan for them to have it back by then too. So it's going to be crazy. Anyways, all right, back to Mr. Devin Vandrhoof to talk about radial tires and why you like them in comparison to big floppy tire slicks.
Well, it's the Lord's tire. It's the tire of choice of straight men. I mean, I don't know what could be said about a big floppy tire that hasn't already been said about Baghdad. I mean, it's just a terrible, bombed out, depleted tire. In all reality, the radial is faster. The radial is safer, and the radial is more consistent if you know how to use it. They don't grow. They don't. I don't know. They don't shake nearly as bad. I mean, they do shake. Don't get me wrong, but they don't shake nearly as bad. They don't. If you know what you're doing with a radial tire and you race a radial tire, you'll never want to go back to a slick. That's really what there is. Now, there's this stigma of like, oh, the track has to be flypaper. That's not true, right? Like that isn't true. You can't be on some no prep, like if you're like on just some like bare whatever, it's not going to work, but if you're on like a reasonably prepped track, you can make it work. 2 years ago when we did Six Summer, everybody said, oh, you're going to get killed up there on a radial and blah, blah, blah. A bunch of people talked a bunch of junk. So I entered us into the unlimited class, and we won that. And then we took second overall. I think the only reason we didn't take first overall is because that Tri-City, that racetrack was that racetrack was sketchy for everybody that year.
Yep.
And I was not willing to make another pass there. You know what I mean? Like we were not willing to try to make another hit there, like slow it down and try to make another hit. So we just threw in the towel on it. But either way, the radial is the Lord's tire, and it's what we run.
Well, and so one thing we hear a bunch, or I see and hear a bunch, is that the tracks in Florida are better. They're better for radials. They're more radial prepped, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's still guys going fast on big tires. Is that true in your experience?
So, here's the thing: the big tire guys could have been just as fast as they've ever been on a radial prepped racetrack. Like that's the truth, right? But most big tire guys have never tried to make their big tire work on that racetrack. They stick to the status quo of like, oh, we need 5 pounds of air in the tire, and you know what I mean? Like we need wheel speed and we need all this, that, and the other. In 2024, like Josh's car, he's got a Trans Am, right? We race that car on radials all the time. And there was a slick tire only, like it was mandated you have to show up on a 28-inch slick. I know it's not a big tire, but it's the same deal, 28-inch slick. We showed up on 28-inch slicks. We haven't been on 28-inch slicks in 10 plus years, right? So like we're walking around, everyone's like, oh, you need wheel speed, you need wheel speed. So like the first 3 passes that we make in this car, we're trying to get wheel speed and we just suck, right? And I'm like, yo, we're treating this thing like a radial. So we put like 14 pounds of air in it right? Like when everybody said don't go over 8, I was like, yeah, you're wrong. 14 pounds of air. And we dead hooked it and wound up like we were in the second chance race, right? Like so we were like because like there was a 32 car field that gets split up into 16 for like the first round losers because we were trying to get wheel speed in first round, right? And like so we lost. Um we wound up going pretty damn fast on that tire once we decided like we're going to treat it like a radial. So I
Mhm.
think that if Anthony, you're right, Gumby Gold is a bad machine on any tire. Yes, it is. Like we've been really fast with that thing. We won a lot of cool stuff with it, and um, it's an awesome car to race. But it's not a drag and drive car. So if some of those big tire guys would just like kind of take a step back and think about the structure of the tire, the racetrack that they're on, and just try some stuff, I think they'd do a lot better. So I had a talk with John Enns and David Schroeder
Mhm.
like in Orlando before Sick Week started, and they were having a problem shaking the tires really really hard with that car, right? So they said, well, what would you do? And I was like, well, I'd put 315s on it, but um, if you don't
Man,
want to
that
do
would
that.
look so good.
Oh, I know, right? Like that's what I said. Like,
Oh,
dude, it looks so badass. Like, get rid of that big stupid tire, put a real man's tire on it, and it goes way faster. Well, I kind of gave him like a rundown of like how I would try to treat it, like just what I would try to do. And I talked to John on day 2, and he's like, "Yo, I did what you said." I said, "How'd it go?" He's like, "Well, we went like 101 60 foot. We haven't gone like 997 yet." He's like, "But we got a lot less power in it, and like it's responding well." I said, "John, it looks like you're here on day 2, which is not exactly common for y'all, and it looks like you're in the hunt, like you're running pretty good." You know what I mean? He's like, "It's inconsistent, but we're trying." And I said, "Okay." So like if you gave those guys a little bit of time to go test with that tire on a decent racetrack and treat it kind of like a radial, I think that there would be there would be a lot of guys that showed up on big tires that wouldn't care what the track prep was like. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, that
So
makes sense. And so, uh, again, we go back to why drag and drive is so interesting because those guys that are at World Series right now, those guys are making 2 or 3 passes a day all week, and they're going to know how the car is going to react at Bradenton when it comes to qualifying tomorrow or racing on
oh yeah,
Friday and Saturday. But drag and drive doesn't get that. So like a lot of times guys show up, we make more passes during the week of the drag and drive than we do the whole year for a lot of other guys,
oh for
me
sure, yeah, yeah.
especially, but like those guys go out and you're getting one test hit if you get 2 passes a day. If
Right,
you get two
right.
passes a day. So
Right. Yeah. No, I mean,
it's
like it's all comes down to testing. Like I think that the radial tire, well, it's already been shown, right? Like it's already growing in the drag and drive world, right? So like
oh yeah.
a couple years ago, it was probably a 70-30 split on slicks versus radials, right?
hmm
Now it's 70-30 radials to slicks. Like it's
Were
taking a
you
turn.
did you go to the lanes at all in Gainesville when they did the AB? I can't remember. I think it was flip flopped. I think AB Slick was first, and then
Yep,
AB
it was.
Radio was second. There were like 8 cars up there for
Yeah.
AB Slick. It
So
was
we were in the first
wild.
like spot. We were in like the first spot at Gainesville for quarantine. So like the lanes were like right in front of us. And
hmm
I was just hanging out in the lanes, like we were waiting for our call, and I was just hanging out, and I was like, "Man, there's barely any AB slick cars, you know." And
Yeah.
a couple of them started to funnel in a little bit later, or whatever, But like, it just wasn't. More and more people are realizing that they're certainly it's sick week, right? So like, why go against the grain? You know,
hmm
like the writings on the wall that they're going to prep the racetracks for radials pretty well. And honestly, I feel as if Tom, especially being a big tire guy himself, would be happy to have a 50-50 split of big tires and radials or slicks and
hmm
radials. Like I'm sure he'd be happy about that. But that's not what's showing up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just not what's coming. So it's like, you know, I'm not telling everybody that they should just be on. Honestly, I really don't want those big tire guys to be on radials. Like I don't. Like I don't. But like, dude, if they figure that out, like if they figure out like a radial, we're screwed,
Yeah.
right? Like we are. I mean, they have chassis cars and like Tom Bailey's got a pro mod. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
if Tom figures out how to make a radial run at his event and he keeps the thing together and alive, it's going to be a 560 car. Like,
Yeah.
you know
So
what I mean? Like,
it doesn't Mickey Thompson make like a 3312 or 3313 radial or something now, or 31? But man, they're
well,
they're
there's
making
the
some huge.
315. The 315 radial is 31 inches tall, but it's only
Mhm.
like 12 and a half inches wide.
Yeah, then
Uh,
there's a bigger one than that then, or
There
something.
is
Yeah.
Doc McIntyre was running it. I don't remember I don't remember like the numbers on it, but like I do remember. I think you're right. I think it was like a 33 or something like that.
Mhm.
You
Man,
know,
that's crazy. I mean,
yeah,
that could be the way. Now I know suspension's completely different setup and
sure.
changes and all that kind of stuff, but like, phew, man, that could be pretty awesome to see some of the, that top level cars, Stefan Gustafson, Bailey's, Schroeder's, all those guys come out on some radials and really lay down some. Because question from earlier I had in my head here. Once somebody breaks that 5, do you think it's going to fall hard? Like we're going to have several people do it, or is it like we're literally looking at like 3 people in the world that can run those kind of numbers?
Well, so there's plenty of cars out there that I think are capable of it, right? Like with some tweaks, there's plenty of cars out there that are capable of it. The difference is that there's not a lot of people that are capable of making it happen,
Hmm.
right? So, and that's not a stab at anybody. Like that's
Yeah.
not me like talking junk to anybody. But like I was saying earlier, that it's real easy to be a fan of this stuff and say, man, like, no, it's going to go fives. And it's real easy to be a guy building a car and saying, man, we're building this car to run fives, right? It's not real easy to go through those stepping stones. So, like, if you take your typical, like, let's just say, I'm sure you have the numbers on this, but I don't. But like, let's say there's a pretty big chunk of racers that run 750, right?
Hmm.
There's probably a solid chunk of racers that run 750. Um, in order for those guys to take that car that runs 750 and turn it into a 690, it's a lot of work and it's a good bit of money, right?
Hmm.
In order to take that car that runs 690 and turn it into a 650 car is double the amount of work and double the amount of money and triple the amount of testing, which is really where the money comes from, is the testing, right? To take that 650 car and turn it into a 620 car is typically a rebuild, a whole new car,
Well, I
right?
mean, look at what Brett did with two. He bought a completely different or built a completely different car to go from. I mean, he was already running 630s last year,
Yep, yep.
right? And then
Yeah,
now he's. I mean, you're talking about 3/10 and is a
yeah.
whole new car.
Well, he built a whole new car because we whipped his ass at streetcar bragging rights last year. Yeah, it was. I think it
That's
was the
awesome.
only. I think we were the only ones to ever beat him in that car. Brett, if you're watching, sorry, I didn't mean to make you build a whole new car. We sorry about
Nope.
it, but
We're glad you did, bud. We're glad you
we
did.
are very glad that you did. Uh, uh, Racing isn't nearly as fun if you don't have somebody to poke back and forth with. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just isn't. And it don't matter. Like so when people are watching, don't think I'm on here talking bad about him because like I'm a fan. You know what I mean? Like I am. I am a fan of his. I'm not. In fact, I was wearing his shirt yesterday. So like I'm a fan of his.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, there's a handful of cars that'll have the potential to go fives. It's just I don't know if, and they could be in the right hands. I don't know, but I mean, it takes a lot to do that. You know what I mean? And this is me outside looking in. We haven't done it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, right. And think about it. There's one car that's run fives. There's, I mean, literally, people have to understand this. Y'all get a ton of attention at that level, right? Because it is so wild to see that fast of a car drive on the street. But there's literally 5 cars
Yeah.
in the 3,000 plus racers within Drag and Drive that are doing that are running those kind of times. I mean, 5, 6, 7, maybe
Yeah.
7. Like,
Yeah. There's not many. Like,
yeah.
and again, well, Derek's in here. I see him commenting. Derek asked me a while ago because he wrote an article about like cars gunning for the fives, and I said, don't include me in that because we're not. Because like I said earlier, like I won't say we're going to do anything until we've already done it. You know what I mean?
Well, and the other side of that, like, we had Cooper on a couple weeks ago. It comes down. All he has to run on day 5 to lock in his class win is a 10-12. So he goes out and runs like a 980 pass or whatever, or a 940, whatever, way off. Right. That's the other side of it. There's no need to run record runs. Like when you guys came into day 5, what did you need to run to lock it in? And were you willing to just throw the kitchen sink at it to make your best pass ever? Or,
Well,
hey, we've had 7 hours of sleep all week. I just
so
want to get this pass done and get out of here.
what we decided to do on day 5, we said, okay, we're going to make a pass that's enough for us to secure the win, right? And we actually wound up having a problem on day 5. Go figure, big shocker here. We actually had a sensor problem. We had a map sensor die on us at half track, and that's just kind of part of it. You know what I mean? Stuff breaks. And we wound up coasting to like a 6. I don't know. It wasn't very fast. It was a 50 something. You know what I mean? Which don't think that I'm like just downplaying that, because that is fast, but it's just not fast for the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we wound up like coasting like a 650, and then so we coast to a 650, and I said, okay, we fixed this map sensor. Let's go back up for the all run and swing like real hard. You know what I mean? And we did, and in the burnout there was a vibration, and car was acting kind of weird, and like I saw it, like I could see it from outside, and I came over to radio. I said, Josh, everything feel right? And he's like, nah, something's wrong. I said, all right, just back up and let's just go back to the pits. Like, we're done. Like, there's no reason, like there's no need.
Yep.
It wound up being a bearing in the converter was locking up. So like the car was kind of like the converter was like coupling and then uncoupling. So like when it's in reverse or in drive, it would try to stall occasionally. Like the engine was trying to stall and then rev up and like take off, because like the converter's trying to lock down. So it was a good thing that we pulled the plug on it, because we could have damaged something, worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, then also that's partially my fault, right? Like, because when we changed transmissions before sick week, I had the converter open, and I didn't do a very good job of cleaning that thing. So when we pulled it apart, it was the bearing race had some stuff, some like real bad scuffs on it. So like I screwed that up too. You know what I mean? So, and again, it's just from like a lack of sleep and like, hurry. So, that's when mistakes are made. But to answer your question, like we wanted to swing, but we chose, not to. So because of,
again, 7 hours of sleep all week, that creates a problem.
Yeah, it was a really bad time. Like it was
Well, then you came home from sick week, and then you tore the whole car apart again. So what's it apart for? Is it refresh? Is it changes?
No, I had to clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine what it was like.
Well, so what happened was we had a rear main seal. We've struggled with a rear main seal in this thing, and partially because of me, partially because of we have it fixed now. We had puke tanks on the car that were a little bit too small, and we were having some pressure issues, like some pan vac pressure issues, and we've now fixed it. We've now since fixed it. Well, after day 1, we were riding down the like day 2. I was like, man, wait, because we put the car up on air jacks, changed tires and stuff. I lay up underneath the car, and I'm like, yo, the whole bottom of this car is covered in oil. Like, what is going on? And the rear main seal is just pissing. And I was like, great, like freaking great. And you run 220-degree oil temp and cruising down the highway, like the oil gets, it's easy to come out. You know what I mean? And so we made a huge mess. The engine had to come out to get a rear main seal anyway. So I pulled the engine out of it, pulled the transmission out of it. I brought the transmission, because I had it rebuilt, like kind of like in a mad dash rush. I brought the transmission down to my transmission guy, Cameron, at Cameron Store Converter Services in Columbia, South Carolina. And I wanted them to just go through it and make it like brand new, give me your seal of approval. And then I brought the engine to Par Racing Engines, and they put a rear main in it, and we slammed it back together in time to do streetcar bragging rights last weekend.
and just destroy folks over there. It was awesome, man.
Man, so people probably don't realize, but from sick week to that picture there, here's what got changed. Okay, this is what changed on the car. The transmission is a completely different transmission now with completely different ratios, right? I had a whole new transmission built by Rossler. And then Cameron went through my other transmission. Okay. So there's a different transmission in that car, different stator in the converter. It's on a 28-inch tire, not a 29 and a half, right? It's 3 inches lower. The ride height is 3 inches lower because that's where it's supposed to ride at on a 28, right? Bar angles have changed, spring rates changed, and rear shocks changed. And then we showed up completely untested to streetcar bragging rights, like idiots. Got rained out the first day we were supposed to test, and then just went right into qualifying. And literally, I guessed at a tune-up. Never turned I didn't turn the lockup on at all during sick week or during streetcar bragging rights. So like,
Wow.
this thing's gonna be fast. You know what I mean? First pass out went 111 60 foot, cruised to like a 420 something. And I said, okay, well, we're in business, and then wound up going like a 411 or 12 or something like that on the next pass. And then we turned it down to just make sure we can get through eliminations, because like that's where like we've screwed up before, you know what I mean? Like where you want to try to chase a number, and that's what hurts you, so.
Well, and for that, at that point, if you've got your opponent covered, what's the point? What, like, I mean, I make it to the next round,
So my car number is 50-50, right? And that's there for a reason, right? So it doesn't matter like what in drag racing, heads up drag racing is a 50-50 chance of winning or losing. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You could have the other guy covered. It doesn't matter. Last year when we went to this race, or not last year, maybe it was the fall race of the year before. We lost in the semifinals to a car that went, I think like 830s. Yeah. You know why we lost? Because we cooled the transmission down too much and it wouldn't bump in.
Oh, no.
So the weather was too cold. We left a fan on it by accident because we started BSing with people at the track. You know what I mean? It sat there for a couple hours. Transmission got ice cold. Wouldn't bump in. Would not bump in. Guess what? Lost. 50-50 chance every single time. You know what I mean?
Nate, 50-50.
That's right. And I wish more and more people would grasp that, because I think more and more people would show up to races. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anything can happen. We caught a little bit of flack about like, one guy was trying, like he was upset, that we were there. But the interesting part of it was like he was bitching because he said, well, you guys have, you're faster than me by almost a second. And it's like, yeah, but the last round, the guy that you just beat last round, you were faster than him by more than a second. So like, who gets to be the harbinger of truth here? You know what I mean? Like, who gets to decide where the line should be drawn? Well, that's the promoter's job, and the promoter does a really damn good job. And that promoter is Nate Prater. He's in here. Streetcar bragging rights they do like a big race like every year. But Nate brings his class to Lights Out and to No Mercy, which is awesome because like that's a huge arena. That's like that's the big stage, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, the drag and drive big stage is like sick week because like they have those coverage and yada yada, right? But like No Mercy and Lights Out is like the big radial tires stage. Like that's it, right? And for Nate to be able to bring a spotlight to street cars at that event is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I've been going to that event for years, tuning other people's cars or whatever, And then when I saw that he was bringing that class to it, I was like, what? We get to bring a car this time? Hell yeah. But his big event is coming up in May, and I think May. Yeah. And it is amazing. Like if you guys want to go to that race, like you should pencil in the time to go to it because like you will have an absolute blast.
Well,
He does a
somebody was
better job than
messaging.
everybody.
Yeah, somebody was messaging me. Scott Thompson was messaging me the other day. He's like, it's, I'm drag and drive, right? He goes, it's like drag and drive adjacent. He's like, it's street cars, man. It's one of the most fun events that's out there. He's like, it's definitely on the same level as the top events you've ever been to.
I'm promising you, like I've raced a lot. Like I go to a lot of races. It's my job, and I promise you, in all of my years, I've never dealt with anybody who puts together an event like Nate does. Like last year, you probably saw the pictures. Like when we ran Brett in the finals, there was like fire, like flames coming out at the starting line. There was a freaking flyover from airplanes right after the national anthem. Like there was like this
That's
huge
awesome.
VIP tent, like where he feeds everybody, like if you have like VIP passes and stuff. And then in the finals, like you go through the finish line, all the lights in the entire facility dump, and then fireworks go off. Like,
Nice.
dude, it was absolutely insane. Like he does such an insane job. Like stuff that when we went to that race, it was stuff that I never thought of. Like I never thought of like doing this to like make like racing cooler than it already is. But Nate looks at racing as if it should be like something more than what everybody else does. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like
Oh yeah.
it should be a show. It should be like and the other cool thing about it is that like Nate cares more about racers than any other promoter I've ever dealt with. Like every single one of them. Like I've dealt with tons of promoters and he gives a crap. He cares.
I was just
More
looking at
from
the
his-
maps. I was looking at the maps, see how far it is from Charlotte. I can usually get pretty cheap flights from Charlotte into XNA or Northwest Arkansas here, so I may need to look at that.
Dude, it ain't that bad of a ride to Rockingham from Charlotte. It really isn't.
Right.
It's dude, it is worth going to. Like you will have an absolute blast. Yeah, and you'll make a ton of connections there in like the streetcar world too. Like that, there are people that don't do drag and drive that are trying to get there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you hear that? 5 years from now, we're going to have trackside cabanas with hot tubs. Like, dude, like this is what I mean. Like Nate just balls out of control. You know what I mean? Like Nate is the riffraff of racing promoters. You know what I mean? Like he is like the riffraff of racing promoters. Like, he's awesome. Does an awesome job.
Rich Guido in here says everybody's driving them, right? Driving their cars.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah.
Bring it on. All right, well, dude, let's wind down. We're a little over, but man, you're such a great guest. I enjoy you coming on anytime. But we haven't even gotten nerdy at all. Like we haven't talked about any nerdy shit or anything. So we're going to do that at a different time. I want to talk about Southeast Street and Eat 2025 because that's got to be on y'all's radar. What's the plan? What I know you've had the craziest last 3 months, and so kind of give us a rundown.
Laura, so that's Laura's baby. That's Laura's baby. She's in charge of that one, So we had dates, and then some of the tracks weren't going to work with those dates. And then no, you don't, Laura. I don't need to do
Come on. Hey, come on.
No. So we had some dates, and then that kind of fell apart because some of the tracks weren't going to work, right? Mm-hmm. Then we tried to move the dates, and then it turned into even more of a mess. Mm-hmm. And then one of the best times we had last year was at Mooresville, and then Mooresville changed management, and so now Laura's trying to work with new management, which it's not that they're a problem or anything. It's just that it's new, so you have to work with them. And we have a new track though. We have a new track in the mix that we may add in if we have to or if we can or whatever. And they're really local to us, and we love the place. But we're not gonna say nothing about that until it's confirmed or whatever. But yeah, she's hoping to have all of this nailed down before the weekend is over. I, on the other hand, will do nothing. Nothing. I don't do anything with it. I am the
You're
pretty
just a
face,
pretty face. Is that
obviously.
what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The pretty face, obviously. And no, she's got a lot of great ideas though. Like she did a killer job on the last one. You know what I mean? I was just there to, make sure it all just went the way she wanted it to go.
Mhm.
Everybody said that they had a blast. You know what I mean? Like everybody, real positive response from everybody, and that's the whole reason we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
Well,
I can tell you,
I think I
good.
did 23 and it was awesome. I loved it. It was a
Yeah,
blast. The taco night,
yeah,
the 2 tracks in one day, dude, next level
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Like we really tried to put together something where like all the competitors were like, man, like they put forth 110% effort into all this. You know what I mean? Like every single bit of it was like we wanted to make sure that every single person there knew that we tried as hard as we could. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, like the slap bracelets were cool. Tyler, she's doing pretty good. She had Mushu just had surgery. She's doing pretty good. So, but no. So the plan is we're 75-25. I'm going to be doing 2 tracks in one day again. 75% yes, 25% no. It really depends on, we're waiting to hear from one of the racetracks, like an answer from them. We may actually make the day 0 be a mandatory thing where it's just testing and tech and whatnot, because it does turn into a little bit of a mess trying to do some tech on day 1. You know what I mean? There's a reason why all the big drag and drives do it. We had a lot of people come. I think we had like 195, I think, that wound up showing up, and I don't remember how many finished. Um, but we had like 260 sign up, which was an accident. But
Awesome.
the 100 and like, I think that in my opinion, like I want to limit it to like 175 cars. Like
Mhm.
I want to limit it to 100, but but realistically, like 150, 175 is like the perfect number where everybody can, like, I want those 100, like, yeah, there'd be people that'll be mad that they didn't get to come, but I want the 175 people that do get to come, or the, 200, let's call it 200, right?
Yeah.
I want those 200 people to understand that, like, dude, this was an absolute blast. Like, we got to
Mhm.
run as much as we wanted to. Like, there was no real major holdups. Like, we run the lanes really efficiently. Like, we try to, at least.
Mhm.
Um, nobody ever really complains that like they didn't be able to get enough passes in, or whatever. We want to back it up a couple weeks. That's the biggest thing. We want to get out of November and get into October, just because of weather.
Mhm.
So 3 years in a row, 3 years in a row we got rain and whatnot, and it's like maybe that week is just bad news. So
Yeah.
so
Man, yeah, moving back into October would be great. And October's still pretty thin for the season. Now, the benefit you guys have is obviously it's a national level event. It's a points event for the Dragon Drive World Championship. And at this point, it's the final event of the year, which really we had to have in 2023. So, you had like Ryan Hargett and Brian Goldstone come out and they're duking it out, trying to get all the points they can. So
yeah.
I think that as the World Championship point still becomes more prominent, events like yours late in the season, guys are looking for that. They're like, I gotta have one. I gotta have an event that I can get to. You start looking
For
at
sure.
200 cars, they're gonna need those passes. They're gonna need
Yeah.
that opportunity in the afternoon. And like, man, I mean, you guys have great tracks. You have the people understand, and the cars that come out are awesome. Lots
Yeah.
of really really cool cars.
And that's something else that, like, I'll just put out there, that like when we do registration and if it gets sold out and whatnot, and you find yourself 6 weeks before our event and you're in the running for winning the overall like championship for the year, or like placing somewhere that you wanted to
Mhm.
place, if you reach out to us, I'm really good at just saying, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
dude,
I know you're
because
not registered.
you've
I,
done
you
it
know,
long enough now, people are gonna not show up. Like, and they're not gonna tell you they're not coming. They're just not gonna show up. So,
which is so, like, it's such a bummer to me, because like if like there's been a couple of times where like I've signed up for an event and like we couldn't come, so I always inform them.
mhm,
I don't want my money back. I just want to inform you all, like, hey, I'm not going to make it, so like give somebody else an opportunity. And that's the bummer about it is like, why not call us and let us know or message us, email something.
Mhm.
Just let us know, hey, we're not gonna be able to make it because if we have a smaller group, I want to be able to let the next guy in or the,
Yeah.
next two people in, whatever it is. So it's really tough to just say screw it, well, come one, come all, because like then if we have 500 people show up, it's like no, I'm going home. Like
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
about it,
yeah.
quit.
It's too
You know what I
many.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're going to 200 this year with the circuit, and it's the biggest event I've ever hosted, and I'm anxious, man. I mean, to be honest, like that's a 50 more cars than what we had last year, and that's a bunch. It's a bunch when you start kind of factoring in, like, what are we gonna do with all these people?
yeah, dude, it's herding cats. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like it's herding cats. That's what it is,
yeah,
sorry competitors, but I'm one of them. I'm one of those really wiry cats that had way too much catnip, like when I'm the competitor. You know what I mean? It's like I get it,
yep.
Uh I gotta tell you this is a funny story from Sick Week. So apparently, if anybody at Sick Week in AB Radial sees my car move at all for any reason, they assume that I somehow, some way got like info that nobody else got that the lanes are about to be called for us, right? So complete insanity, whatever. So it's day one, and like we didn't get until a late start, right? Well, we didn't drive the car prior to day one. So I said to Josh, I go, yo, I said, we got to be coming up pretty soon. I said, but like, we got to get heat in the rear end, like in the gear, like in the rear gear and everything. Like, just go drive this thing in circles, like just go drive around, you know what I mean? Like, all right. So like I said, just make a couple laps. I said, and just keep your phone like on the phone mount. Like if they call us and you don't hear them, I'll text you and just pull up to the lanes. All right. So he like pulls out and like drives away from the staging lanes, right? And I'm up near the staging lanes talking to a couple people, and he comes around the back row and he's like, "Yo, look behind me." There's like 60 cars behind him.
That's awesome.
I'm like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like, and now those people are like blocking us from even being able to get back into our pit, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like,
That's awesome.
I was like, "Well, just shut it off and park here." And he's like, dude, there's no way they're not going to want to kill us over this. And I was like, oh, they probably will, but it's all right. So like, I went up there and told them, and they were like, oh my God, like you're starting this already on day one. I said, sorry, I mean? But,
Man,
uh, but I would tell Josh, I'd be like, yo, get in the car. They're going to call us any minute. And he'd be like, dude, I'm not even getting near that damn car because people are watching us. And I'm like, I'm telling you, they're going to call us. And, it was just so bad. It was like so I don't know. It was really funny though. It was really because like it was like literally like a parade of people like following him around. I was like, God dang guys, like come on,
that's
I know you're
awesome.
anxious, but chill out. Uh it was funny though. So those are
That's
the types
cool.
of things that like when I look back, I always laugh about like and have fun with like, meeting people in the gas station bullshitting
Hmm.
and um
Man,
that's the fun
I
part.
had a Mustang just like this. Guarantee
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did.
oh yeah, we heard that a bunch. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what our schedule is for this year. We are going to run streetcar bragging rights in May. We're going to run Six Summer. We're probably gonna if Nate has his event at No Mercy this fall in Georgia, we're gonna run that. We're gonna run the Sick at the Rock thing. I saw that they just changed some stuff around with that this afternoon.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if we'll do that or not. I don't know. I'll just have to kind of read about it and see if it's something that is good for us or not. And then, yeah, Laura, that's what I'm talking about. Well, she's the one that books all the stuff, so like she probably knows better than me. Um, and then I think that was really all we really had planned. There's a handful of like there's a couple of shootouts that are like local that we're gonna go to and run them. But that's it. You know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's all.
So
I mean, like, I was going to ask if you made it into Drag Week. It's going to
didn't even try.
MIR and okay.
Didn't even try.
Break my heart. It's okay. It's fine.
Well, man, it's drag week. Where is it? It's up in VMP and everything, and like in Philly,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like, why?
Dude, I'm telling you could. Hey, you could go back. It's like back home.
Yeah,
like,
it is back home. Like, I don't think they could pay me enough. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't want to go to Philadelphia. Like, I
yeah,
hate Philadelphia.
yeah,
You know,
that's
no,
awesome.
we're not going to do the King of the South. That was a slick tire race. We're not going to do that one. We were going to do that with Josh's car, but Josh's car is a little bit is pulled apart at the moment. So, um,
Yellow Belly's
yeah,
an
no,
interesting spot.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, man. It's as a spectator, you're literally from like this is the track, like touching the track. It's behind this
Yeah,
chicken wire fence, you know.
I've seen a bunch of videos from it. It's awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, they're it does look really cool. That's the place that like has the there's like something overhead, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's got like covered spectator parking. I mean, it's
So
there's
this is
11
where my
Mexican
brain
parties
goes.
going on.
This is where my brain goes every time I see a video from there. Do you remember like at the boardwalk, like with the bumper cars with like the electric
Mhm.
things over top? Every
Yeah.
time I see a video from there, I think about bumper cars with the little electric thing overhead because it
Yeah,
looks like
that's
one of those
exactly
little
what it
things, and I'm
feels
like,
like too.
yeah, I'm like, oh, look at that, it's a little bumper car thing, you know, like that's where my brain goes every time I see a video from there. So it always
Yeah.
did look, it looks really cool there. I've never been. So
Yeah. It's
where's
a neat
that? I don't
track.
even know where it's at.
South of Dallas, Texas.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Rich, I do have a question. Will you be there the weekend of April that for Little Gangsters that weekend? That's my question to Rich before we jump out of here, because we'll be down there. Midwest Drag Race Series kicks off their event that weekend as well. So it'll be Jimmy Dale doing his race and then Midwest Drag Race Series, same weekend, same area. We're at XRP there at Yellow Belly. So that'll be
Oh,
pretty
cool.
wild.
That's
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
I
I was
gotta go to
hoping we could.
XRP. I gotta go to XRP this year for a grudge race. So
Nice. Nice.
um,
Well, it's a great track. XRP is an awesome track. They
I like the racetrack. I just hate. I'm so sick of the grudge racing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're all drag and drive now. That's the way it goes. I see streetcar
And
Devin.
well, it's that car. My car has always been a street car. But a lot of my customers and stuff I deal with are in the grudge world, and the grudge racing is I don't know, man. The vibe that you get at a street car event or a drag and drive event. Honestly, what it is, I think what the biggest thing is that the clocks are on.
Mm.
And like there's just something about when the clocks are on where like it seems like everybody has a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well,
Like
there's no bullshitting then.
right. Like you can't lie your way through it or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So oh hey, you know what else I wanted to say? I wanted to shout out Summit for helping us out at Sick Week. They were
So awesome.
instrumental. They were good to go,
Yeah.
I don't
Those,
want to sit here. We got plenty of sponsors, but they were somebody that helped us at the track that sponsored y'all and sponsored the event. Like
yeah.
it's as a business owner, it's tough to be supportive of Summit because like they're the gorilla, you know what I mean? Like and like they just outsell you. But as a racer, like you can't you cannot let them go unappreciated. You know what I mean? Like they were great. So
Yeah, and those guys that were down there working, they're drag and drive racers. Like, Tommy races drag week.
yep.
Alec autocrosses a Grand Marquis or Crown Vic. I mean, he's an idiot. And a Miata. So imagine big Alec in a Miata racing.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. But yeah, those guys are great. All right, dude, we're gonna put you backstage. Tell everybody where they can follow you and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll close the show out.
My name on Facebook and Instagram. And then our website for our business is hcrinnovations.com. And then if you look me up on YouTube, my name on there is the Holly EFI guy.
Yep.
We wire, plumb, and tune race cars, and we go racing. That's about it.
Dude, yeah, and you are a busy man doing that. So hang tight, Stevens. I want to talk to you about a couple things, and then we're gonna finish this up.
Okay, cool.
Man, I appreciate him coming on and spending the time. It's wild. Like, do we need to extend the show to 3 hours? This is twice now we've gone over.
I'm gonna need a more comfy chair if we're gonna do that.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah, my back's hurting already. But man, this has been great. Appreciate everybody. We've had great numbers tonight, great comments. I think Devin is kind of like what Ed Enzer was. Like he's so smart that people they're scared to ask questions. So next time we have him on, he's been on. I think this is his third or fourth time to be on, and I'm excited. So as we get more info on Southeast Street Meet 2025, we'll have Laura on. We'll leave Devin inside the house to make comments in the chat. We'll go from there. So I want to say thanks to him. I want to say thanks to Carolyn for coming on from Youth Services of Tulsa. That was awesome. John Paul Frank's coming on talking about Heads Up Hustle and the Melling Performance sponsorship there for their title sponsor. Man, it's been a great show. We've been super busy. So
Yeah.
we've been talking the whole time. So send us out and we'll get rolling, man.
Well, you want to talk about next week real quick first?
You mean episode 100?
100.
Like, I said this early in the episode. I don't know if people heard this, but dude, 420 live streams, but this will be episode 100 of the show. I mean, there's no telling. I mean, we probably have 300 hours of live stream of talking about drag racing just in the Drag Driver Pete show without the news that happens. So, I mean, I'm so excited about this. I messaged Adam and Matt both today and asked, this is the monumental episode, right? 100 is a big deal. A lot of live streams don't make it this far, right?
Right.
The ones that do typically, that we just, if you make it to 100, you're going to make it to 200, right? These guys are the reason I started all this, right? Jonathan Suncipher is pivotal in me following this stuff. Matt Frost is the reason that I competed in a drag and drive in 2020 when Drag Week canceled and he kicked off 2.0. Without that, I mean, we wouldn't be right here, or we would, and we'd be on episode 10. You know what I mean? Like it would have been just drastically different. So Adam Dory, he is who I base if I like an announcer on or not. Adam's the best announcers in the game of any automotive stuff. So those two guys are going to be on. I'm going to try and talk June into coming on as well to talk about some of the stuff. I want to talk about the history of Rocky Mountain, kind of where it came from. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary. We're moving into a new era of drag and drive and what that means for them and what we can look at moving forward and all that kind of stuff. So, and obviously we're going to talk about Mega Week. I mean, the biggest, baddest drag and drive to ever have happened, the biggest party I think we'll ever see, 600 cars. Like we're going to get nitty gritty. We're probably going to be 2 hours with them. I don't know if we're going to have another guest, maybe not. If we do, it'll be a short one. Yeah, I would love to give them as much time as we can talk about stuff. So I'm already making notes for it. Obviously, I think it's just going to be awesome to have them on and go through that history with them, and the future. Like we're going to talk about all kinds of shit. So it's going to be awesome. Episode 100 will be March 5th. So 3-5. I can't believe it, dude. 100 live streams talking about Dragon Drive, man. It's awesome.
I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Tonight, we've had, like you mentioned, great numbers, tons of people in here, tons of comments. Again, you guys are the reason we do this. So thank you so much for watching every week. Again, going on 100 episodes. If you guys aren't watching this, we wouldn't make it to 100. So again, thank you guys. And like we always say, none of this would be possible if we didn't have our sponsors: Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, J-Wire Solution, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmission, Card Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week for episode 100.
Yep. See you guys. All right.